Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. This is New Year. I'm not sure. I was going to say Happy New Year, but, I guess it's happy from the perspective of, that we're alive. At least some of us are. Some of us couldn't make it a couple of days into the year without being shot in the face. But hey, we have to just roll with the punches, right? As much as we can. I'm Alexis, and I'm joined by my very good friends here, David Francisco, of course, the person responsible for keeping the glue and keeping this place, from falling apart off at the seams, and of course also Alexis Moreno, who herself cannot, stay attached to one continent for more than a few weeks at a time. But hey, you got to live your life, obviously, because you never know when you're going to be snatched up or brutally murdered by the people who so that's kind of where we're at.
I just saw a video of somebody being on a watch list and not getting their passport renewed.
That's
a trans person.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. Welcome to America in 2026. All right, of course, this is the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more, and we don't have, too much on that per se. We're kind of really going to get into more of pop culture, maybe even a little bit of just international, national news, of course. But today's show is really supposed to be, at least the theme anyway, our favorite moments of the year 2025. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, it can mean, it could pertain, things that may be familiar to viewers and listeners, but it also could not be. Each of us, I don't know if these two wanted to, I would hope that they have some moments, I'm sure they do, but they can share personal moments. Good. No, you made a list. Oh,
not
okay.
like a list, but like I wrote down stuff.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be really interesting because I can never, ever get you to make a list.
You know who did it?
I know, but I wouldn't expect that to happen in this situation. But I'm sure some things will come up when it comes up. So our favorite moments of the year 2025 could include personal aspects of our lives. They also could include, let's just say, particular news stories that resonated with us. That for sure is going to pop up on this show. And also individual moments, memories of the year. I feel like I really wanted to do it this time because I do feel like, on the whole, most of the things that we remember as far as like for happening in certain years tend to be really negative and tend to be just really awful stories. And so I wanted to really kind of use this podcast as a means to just kind of like, remind us of some really cool moments that happen in our lives that, were memorable to us. And hopefully that we can look back on this podcast and like, hey, in case we ever forget, oh, that's right, this is the year that this happened. And that was also, just really nice for us to also just be able to have. That's going to be our show here on Red Spotlight 524. However, it can't all be sunshine and rainbows, obviously. And, again, the idea was that this was supposed to be, a positive show in mind. But I can't help the things that happen in the world, obviously. Clearly, I have no sway, I have no power. And if you hear any of my, endless number of rants on this show in the last number of years, really the last decade, you can already just tell that I'm an individual that, thinks very little of the world in the direction that it's heading and is very much not happy with any of it at all, not the least of which include, the populace as a whole that, just continues to be rather ignorant about the conditions and circumstances that create a lot of the troubles in their lives, which then allows for fascists to rise to power and continuously be reelected into power. And then, of course, we're in this endless cycle of like, whoever could have predicted this? Or I can't believe they would do that. Or why are things so damn bad? That always has to be the opening salvo because I just don't know what else it would be. I would just say, as far as the news that has happened, I gotta tell you, I feel like, obviously it's momentous. Obviously it's historic. I do feel like at this point it's gotten beyond parody. I mean, I feel like the government has gotten beyond parody at this point. I mean, look, if anything, what was it? And I said, what was it? David and I think you and I played this clip last time you and I did a podcast together at the end of the last year. We were listening to one of Grace Randolph's clips, and she said at the end of one clip, like, I'm watching someone break the law and nothing's happening. Which I think you can just sum up, that can be used to sum up the entirety of like this last year, right? So that was just a wonderful way to just close out that year, because like, well, how else do you actually, just compartmentalize the things that you see with your eyes, right? I do feel like the only thing that helps process this horrible news cycle is the fact that I've just come to terms, and I feel like it's been a solid couple of years now. I've just come to terms with the idea that January, for the most part, is just going to be a really awful month. I think truly some of the most gruesome and brutal stories that have ever been that we've been exposed to just seems to happen in January, which is just really like weird, because like January is like, I usually am like so much like delved into the awards season as like my outlet, and nothing else seems to like creep into it. This year I'm so much less engaged with it. Shout out to James Cameron, by the way, for just a quick like tangent, for like, calling out like the Academy for not recognizing Dune Part 2, in particular Denis Villeneuve, which we all agree should have been, we should have been the movie of the year, should have been the one that won, and yet here we are. Because I'm not over that. I know you two aren't over that, and I feel like ever since then, it's kind of hard to like come back to it, especially when in that same year, Emilia Perez got like 12 or 13 or 14, 15, I don't know how many nominations, and
I had
very much nearly
that from my head.
Hey, that was part of last year too. So if we're talking about the year in review, we gotta remember that. So is Brave New World, which is awful. I don't know if anyone remember that movie. But the thing is, with award season, of which I'm so much less invested in these days for a variety of reasons, but like that's what I would usually be involved with in January, only maybe even exclusively because everything else that happens this month, every freaking year, like on cue, horrible things happen. I feel like one of the things that I remember in my mind of how we as a podcast started last year, Alexis, you and I did, I think the episode was called TikTok on the Clock, which was like, so many things were happening, which was like, we were on the brink of losing TikTok. Trump was about to be ushered into the second, term of his presidency, which very much felt like, and people went to TikTok and made these freaking like clips themselves. It just felt like Revenge of the Sith, the Empire is born. That was very accurate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And also there was these really tragic and horrible fires that were happening in Southern California, mainly in LA, and one, I believe, very near where you two were living at the time as well. So things really began with like, what is happening? Yeah. Like last year, it was the worst. So I'm not going to say what's happening right now is tame, because it's not. It's actually far worse. Maybe it's kind of softened in that I already expect things to just fall apart immediately when January happens. Because of course that would happen, right? Within like 8 days. This is we're recording this on Thursday, January 8th. And already, this president has illegally kidnapped the leader of a different nation, and evidently we're already just going to go ahead and set up shop and run the whole damn thing without congressional approval whatsoever. That's why I mean illegally. Democratic leadership were not briefed or consulted, but you know who were? Oil executives. They were briefed before and after the whole thing took place, just to be clear about that. And also the president's personal Gestapo agency, which is run by incompetent individuals who have, and I say incompetent quite literally because they have no training, and it's well documented. They get paid, but they have no training whatsoever. They're not the same thing as a police officer, where at least there's some kind of training program. These people are not trained at all whatsoever, and I don't know how you can justify just the negligent incompetence of just shooting somebody as they drive away from you. I mean, when we all watched the clip, obviously, in Minneapolis, it's like, hey, look, it's been a year now of people being terrorized, specifically in blue states, right? You don't see any of this happening in states that voted for the president, right? It's just happening.
There's been a few, and it's been surprising because they do fight back. So, at least
in red states,
some of them have.
Interesting. Well, I think you keep up with this more than I do, because this thing just is horrible.
I need to stop.
I think you need to stop specifically because, like, I try to not think about this because this really could happen. I mean, as we're coming on the air, there was a report that the agents shot 2 more people in Oregon.
Training in downtown right now.
Oh, wonderful. And I also read a report that hours within the incident that happened yesterday in Minneapolis, ICE rushed that particular agent out of the state. And since then, the FBI has taken sole custody of the investigation, and the state of Minnesota will not be involved in the incident that happened. I feel like there's only so many things I can say about this, but look, here's something that I think Joy Behar put in, and I don't really think of her at all, but this is actually a really interesting and succinct way of summing up the 8 days, right? She says, "Are we in the middle of a fascist America? Just this last week, Pete Hegseth started an illegal war for oil in Venezuela. Stephen Miller threatened a military takeover of Greenland. RFK Jr. slashed childhood vaccine recommendations. And ICE shot and killed a U.S. citizen. That adds up to me a dictatorship in the making. We are now in it. The American people have to wake up to this." We could say 1,000 times, none of this is surprising, because it's not surprising. I feel like, again, anybody with half a brain saw immediately.
I mean, I remember us saying last year in the first episode, just like...
Right? We laid it all out. We laid it all out. What was going to happen, right? Like, you go back at the tape from a year ago where we were. I think we recorded it maybe toward the middle of January, but still, like, we laid it all out. And all the things that you and I were talking about on that show have come to light. Or actually, have come true, and even more so than that. And, like, I truly, though, am shocked that it took this long for ICE to execute somebody. I really could have...
Well, it's not the first person.
Well, this blatantly, and this out in the open and getting caught on footage. They've killed more people than this. It's just not been reported in the news. I know that we don't discuss this far too often because, of course, it's too depressing, but I do think it is helpful for people to be informed about why this is such a lightning rod, because this is coming off of a year of people being terrorized for no good reason. The president has set up a personal police force in the name of his supporters, who are getting $50,000 to just show up and beat the hell out of people because they like to do that. That's literally the only requirement from what I can tell. And they're not keeping anybody safe. They're continuously getting in there and causing a whole bunch of trouble. And I think you can even, I think there are many spots in which police, local law enforcement, have really, really grown a distaste for them, because they're not just getting in the way, they're actively causing harm and damage.
Yesterday, I'm sick, by the way, so when everything happened and, ICE left, the people that were there were the police, and everybody that was mad was like yelling at the police, but like they couldn't really do anything because it's like, they have to be there at the end of the day. So it's, I'm not saying that like they're not complicit either, but they do kind of get like really
It's important
bad
to remember
and
there's like
sick.
there's layers to this and there's
Yeah.
degrees of separation, which is why I made a very good point at the beginning to just distinguish between
Hmm.
ICE and police. Not that the police don't deserve their own bag of like things to be critical about because they
Hmm.
do, but at the very least police officers have some kind of training, right? ICE doesn't. They're literal stormtroopers. Like it's again beyond parody, but that's literally where we are. And this is funny and sad, but just like the incompetence, to me could not be put more succinctly. This is a list of just, I think, atrocities. You could probably put that in a word. Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk put it this way. This is his tweet. ICE is Trump's personal Gestapo. They've engaged in mass kidnappings and abductions with no due process, which is breaking the law, by the way. Here's a list of their accomplishments these last year. They've ignored court orders. 30 people have died in ICE custody since Trump took office. There's evidence one was lynched. Literal criminals are joining ICE. They're recruiting criminals. That's not even parody. That hyperbole. That's actually what's
They
happening.
were literally
The assault.
foaming at the mouth, lining up, like waiting to to do all of this.
They
That's
assaulted.
crazy.
They assaulted an 84-year-old married couple. They shot a priest in the face with a pepper ball. They tear gassed a baby, journalists, and cops. They ran over people with cars. They zip tied naked kids who were U.S. citizens. Deported a guy for having cologne. Deported a guy who was wrongfully imprisoned for 40 years. I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny, but you have to laugh because it's just this is like I'm reading a script to an episode of a sci-fi show. This is like insane. Tackled a 79-year-old car wash owner and hospitalized him. Raided meatpacking facilities. That's literally one battle after another. Farms, Home Depots, and 7-Elevens. Deported a 4-year-old American citizen with cancer. Arrested a woman after giving birth. An American citizen who spoke Mayan was arrested and held for a week. Arrested a U.S. Marshal, arrested a veteran from Puerto Rico, and sent 288 people to a concentration camp in El Salvador where they were tortured, 90% of them with no criminal record. And that's just scratching the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And to think this all could have been avoided. To think none of this suffering was necessary, needed at all. And this is just where we are. This is just where we are. I don't even know what more I can even say about the whole Venezuela thing. It just seems like this is just Iraq 2.0, and they're not even covering it up. They're like, yeah, it's about the oil.
Yeah.
So what? It's about the oil. That's what we're doing here for, and it's just what Grace Randolph said. I'm watching somebody break the law and nothing's happening. And it's gone more to just smaller crimes. This is like international crimes against humanity. This is just what the hell is going on. It's I mean, I don't know what I can say, but Alexis, I want to let you take it away.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting 8 days, and I'm very scared to see what's gonna happen. I mean, things seem really tense right now. They've seemed tense
no kidding.
the whole time, but like, it's. I feel like all throughout the year they've at least had some kind of restraint, but like that's not happening anymore. So it's a bit scary.
No, it's pretty bad.
I mean, the only thing is just like whoever is out there, like, I don't know, just be safe. Like, I get it. I know that like this is obviously gonna happen at some point, but yeah, just be safe. I don't know.
And I'm
it's
really
saying
awful
that because again, they're literally in downtown. There's literally
Yeah.
a protest right now. Um, you know, it's literally like right outside my house right now. So
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. I feel like, you have to find a way to find hope somewhere, right? But I will say, there has been a noticeable change in the air. Things are already so bleak, right? I mean, it's hard to think that, oh, can get any worse or any different. But ever since, and I don't think we had even a moment to even talk about on this show just yet. I wonder if it happened in between the recordings somewhere, but there was in the last few weeks. But Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered by their own son in their home, and that's a whole personal family issue that is just so unbelievably tragic. And Rob Reiner was just Hollywood legend. I mean, I'm not familiar too much with his movies except for the more high profile ones.
mhm.
Obviously I've seen Stand by Me, When Harry Met Sally. There are other ones obviously in there, but I actually knew him more as an actor. You
Yeah.
would always see him pop up in things like Wolf of Wall Street and New Girl, especially, are ones that I remember him most from. And it's just, he was always just a funny guy and charismatic guy. And I think I remember, who was it? I think it was, I saw a story in 2024, the week of the Joe Biden debate with Donald Trump. I think he was hosting some kind of like watch party. And I think he like got up and like yelled at some of the Democrats in his party, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, he's just he went ape
Us.
shit, just like, right? And like that whole ordeal that happened. And he truly was a beautiful person. And I was just so saddened to hear about all of that. But in how it relates to what we're talking about, there was notably a change in the air as far as to how even many people that would politically align with the ideas of the right wing, they themselves were really caught by surprise by just President Trump literally dancing on the person's on his grave in his like, he was asked, "Hey, what did you think about like these awful like murders that happened?" And he goes off on this rant about like, "Well, I never liked him, and he was never a fan of me." And then there was a tweet about like basically insinuating that his son killed him because he was going through Trump derangement syndrome. And that really backfired. I don't, and, Trump never backs down from any statement, it seems like, but that one seemed to be a bridge too far. And then things are just getting progressively worse where he's just being openly nasty. That's his favorite word to use against women, but he's just being specifically openly like hostile toward women reporters, calling them stupid, ugly, and pigs in a way that wasn't really on the surface, even in the first term that he had. That could very well be a result of like his cognitive decline, which is very apparent to anybody, again, with half a brain, as we say. And then comes this. He starts a war, and he can't even freaking like lie. Well, and again, it's
Yeah.
it's what I shared the other day, right, with Andor. I think Adam Hlavak was like saying Andor is at this point just feeling like a documentary. One of the scenes from Andor involved I believe the Gorman senator. He said they don't even bother to lie badly anymore. I suppose that's the final humiliation. Trump couldn't be bothered at all to even like put up the whole thing about the oil. And I know. You've seen this. I have to play this clip because it is so fucking funny. It is so sad, but it is so fucking funny. So, David, if you want to make a note of it somewhere for right now where we are, somewhere in the podcast, if you have that available with you right now, so I can play this. This is from, of course, Jon Stewart, who always, and I mean this, always is doing such incredible work at just, to me, I know he's a comedian, but he literally, I know, he needed a moment, but he literally is one of the most trusted names in news for all of this. Go ahead, Alexis. You can get your water. Oh my god. Are you okay? Wow, that was okay. Well, Alexis has already heard this clip, so I'm just gonna go ahead and press play for where we are.
What moral foundation will this conflict be framed?
We're going to have presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, but we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be.
Seems a little on the nose. Oil, precious commodity, certainly, but not the reason a country formed 250 years ago on the ideas of liberty and self-determination would go into a country and snatch a man at night. There must be a slightly more noble pretense.
We're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground.
We need total access. We need access to the oil.
Sir, again, I see where we're going here. Do you mind just reframing that? I'm not quite clear on the high-minded principle behind this.
In other words, we'll be selling oil.
Is this your first war? I mean, what the f***? All right, let's table this for now. Senator Lindsey Graham, you're an old hand at warmongering. You've done this a bunch. You're on the plane. Can you help this dude out with the casus belli and keep Trump from bringing it back to oil?
There are going to be Americans alive today because he shut down a narco-terrorist state called Venezuela. This is a good thing, not a bad thing.
And the oil companies are going to go in and rebuild their system.
God damn it! What? We can't even be conspiracy theorists now. I think they did it for the oil. Yeah, no, I did it for the oil.
I didn't mention, by the way, that somewhere in all of this, after this happened, Trump got such a high out of the power that he was able to just wield, that he just put it out there that, oh yeah, I would, if I were Greenland or Cuba or Mexico, I would watch my back right now. What the fuck is this? Like, this is just like, there's no reason for any of this to be happening. It was like, when do we all just, you're really embracing your Fire Nation heritage, aren't you, as an American? Just like, hey, let's just go ahead and claim this piece of territory that already happens to belong to a whole sovereignty of people, but let's just go ahead and take it by force. Alexis, I got, like, when you're hearing all of this, it's like, what is going through your mind? Like,
I think I keep thinking of people who see this with their eyeballs, hear this with their own freaking ears, and still support all of this. Like, I don't understand. Like, I wish that I could, just to get some sense, but also obviously I don't want to, because what are we doing? I don't get it.
I mean, look, it's gotten to the point where it's like, what the fuck is gonna be our reaction if, like, let's just say we wake up tomorrow and Trump, for whatever reason, captured the president of Mexico. What? That would be pretty bad, because that's like our kind of escape plan if things go really bad here, and we're kind of like shit out of luck if that's out of the question. But like, no, it's pretty bad, and I have been seeing a lot more. Look, if this does any good, it's hard to see that, right? But if this does any good, I hope that this really helps with getting it across that whenever the next presidential election happens, is for the Democrats, one of the bare minimum requirements needs to be, we're going to try these people.
Yeah.
We're going to have freaking trials, and we're going to make sure that these people pay for what they've done, because it is more than just, oh, it's a Republican president and they're doing Republican policies. We've gone well past that. Like this is someone committing atrocities and crimes, more than just what would actually happen. This is just so. I mean, what do you even fucking say? Like,
Yeah.
I it's just so bad right now. And I mean, look, what's going to be interesting to see, I don't even know why I'm even bringing this up, because it just seems like a waste of breath, but like, hey, in the next couple of I think the next month, there's going to be a State of the Union address. The president's going to give this big fancy speech, and one would hope that the Democrats would like fucking like holler and, you know, make a fucking scene and like shut that shit down. But they're not going to do any of that. They'll be there. They'll wear pink or blue in protest. They'll wear maybe the bands or hats or whatever, and they'll just be there, being furniture. Because that's just what they are. Yeah. Anywho. Where this year will go, who knows, right?
I feel like we did a pretty good job as to predict 2025. I have no idea.
I think we do have a pretty good idea. I think the obvious answer is things will continue to escalate, and things will. It's hard to imagine how with
It's only
8 days already
year.
in. It's only the second year, and yet we made it through 1 year.
Yay!
Glass half full, glass half empty situation. It's like, hey, there's still years to come, but we made it through 1 year, and yeah, that's gonna be something. I don't know, man. What we could say is there's going to be, I think, some truly dramatic moments, and some dire moments too. I feel like we have a midterm election happening in November, and I do feel the potential is very much there for some true violence to break out, because I feel like any prognosticator will tell you, anybody who just follows politics will tell you, Democrats are going to have a huge advantage all across the nation. Although they really shouldn't, because they're awful individuals that don't deserve it, but they're going to have it by default because the right is just so fascistic, right? But they're going to have a lot of advantages, and they may very well take back one of the chambers of Congress. But as a result of that, you probably are going to see Trump maybe even involve ICE or the National Guard. They're going to pull a house of cards.
He already is labeling them domestic terrorists, so
yeah. So I think you're going to see them pull some shit to either burn ballots or steal ballots or shut down polls, or make up numbers, or maybe even unleash a mob at poll election voter workers. I don't know how successful it'll be, but it'll be pretty dramatic, and I think the potential for violence to break out may actually happen in this, because I think if Trump can do anything well, he can get his own people to get really freaking angry when he wants them to. And he has a police force that does whatever they want. Why wouldn't he send them to intimidate people and arrest voters while they're in the, I mean, I bet you what will happen, we'll see a story of somebody casting their vote and immediately being picked up and kidnapped and put in a van by ICE. We just saw this happen the other day, where somebody was protesting, giving an interview, and getting arrested on camera.
On camera, literally.
one of the things that wasn't listed in that things that happened that were noteworthy last year of ICE, and there were so many that weren't included in that recap, but like I remember watching a video of ICE inadvertently and accidentally, I get just collateral damage. They slammed their car into an innocent bystander's other car, and then they got out of their car so pissed they arrested the woman they crashed into. Yeah, so that's that. Anyway, we're gonna leave that there. We are recording this the weekend before the Golden Globes, and we'll see how that goes. That's a show that three of us happen to watch pretty annually and religiously. It is going to be hosted again this year by Nikki Glaser. As far as to how invested we are in this, I mean, we may be in some instances. I mean, this may be where the Timothée Chalamet train gets going and running. The coronation for Marty Supreme.
Very upset.
Yes, for a lot of reasons, obviously. But I mean, people get upset at every award season. That's just how it is. We'll see how this show goes. I'm more so curious to see how they'll do it the sophomore year with Nikki Glaser, and I hope that this team can get it together and not botch certain things. But I will say, no matter how bad the Globes may be and have been in the past, nothing will ever be truly as awful and pitiful as any broadcast of the Critics' Choice Awards, which love to hail themselves as the superior version of the show. I had the displeasure of watching that show, or half watching it, because it was just so pitiful this past week. And the vibes are just not there. They really did think they were going to be like the party of the town to begin the award season. It's like, no award season begins in this town without the Golden Globes. That's a real freaking party. That's a real freaking venue, and they have a real freaking like dinner. The freaking the Critics' Choice. First of all, they take place in an airport hangar. Yeah, they dress up the airport. That's the venue. The Beverly Hills Hotel. That's where the Golden Globes are at. But Critics' Choice has a freaking airport hangar, and then their dinner is a charcuterie board. Cheese and crackers. Even one of their own winners went on stage and called out, like, I've been to enough of these things to know that they're never going to feed us here. That's the Critics' Choice Awards. Getting called out on stage to their faces. And then, this is the other thing, too. It's like, they have so many categories. They can't get their own show off the runway. See what I did there? Which is like, most of the awards that they present throughout the whole night were for TV. So if you're just a movie person like I am and not really invested in the TV categories, you're like, come on, what are we doing here? I feel like it was an hour and a half, and it was mostly all just TV categories that were being presented on air. All the while, major freaking categories were being presented as they were cutting to commercial. As they were cutting to commercial on the teleprompter, and the winner for Best Original Score is this. And the winner for Best Adapted and Original Screenplay are...
That's crazy.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
Really bad. Like, I thought when you mentioned it, that they were cutting to commercial and giving out those awards, I thought it was just someone got an award, cut to commercial, and then they gave it out. But to actually like cut it and have people expect like, okay, we're gonna hear who won once they come back, and it's like, no, we didn't hear about it really. We didn't hear that person's speech. That's really bad.
Because they weren't allowed to speak. This is what happened. So, for example, two big winners, which I think would have been a truly amazing moment to experience on live television. Paul Thomas Anderson winning. He doesn't really ever win awards. He's been around for a long time. This is a pretty big movie. Maybe the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
To win for adapted screenplay. I think it's adapted screenplay. I think let's just say adapted. And original went to Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler winning an award. That's a big deal for Sinners too. And they weren't given a moment to actually give a speech. Like, never mind the fact that it wasn't on TV. They weren't even allowed to like speak for the audience that was there. Imagine you're sitting at your table, the presenter, or I guess the announcer voice, and now we're going to commercial. But first, the winner for original screenplay was
And then
Ryan
you miss it.
Coogler.
You have a cheese bite in and you just miss it.
That very well could have happened. Or best case scenario, you're sitting there and you're looking at the teleprompter and they show, oh, I guess I won an award. But I don't get to go up there and feel like a winner like everybody else who was asked to be up there. Like, that to me baffles me. It's like, I feel like, and I think I heard this years ago, in the past, this was many, many years in the past, this award show used to be two. It used to be just a purely TV Critics' Choice Awards and a movie Critics' Choice Awards, and they merged them. They probably need to just go back to that because this is so unfair, because especially because it's so slanted toward TV. So many of the movie and film categories were not presented on air. The only ones, and this is also weird, I know that they presented Best Original Song and Best Animated Feature because the K-pop Demon Hunters table was there and they prioritized them getting their moment to go on stage and accepting their awards, which of course they won. But as far as PTA and Ryan Coogler, who literally saved this freaking business,
Yep.
you don't get a moment to speak. And then this is the other factor. You have to remember this as far as award season is concerned. Which is why I was a little bit like negative on Timmy's speech, because you have an opportunity here in the first televised show of the season to seal the deal. You have to understand, people who vote for these things, they're not voting for the best performance or the best person. They're enamored with the whole game, the race of it. Mm-hmm. And you have to deliver a solid speech, which is why that very night, Jessie Buckley I didn't listen to it because I don't know what, maybe I was out of the room, but she won, she gave a speech, but it played very well in the room. And just like that, people are already calling it locked. She's in. Yeah. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's over. If Timmy had given a version of that, we would be hearing people say that, but because it was kind of all over the place, meandering and nerve-wracking, it's just really not what you would expect him to give. It's left the door open up until maybe he wins this weekend, and if he wins Golden Globe, that'll be it probably. But the point is, the way that people talk about these things matters a lot, and if you're in this race to win these awards, you have to be prepared. There were genuine surprises too. Jacob Elordi actually winning Best Supporting Actor for Frankenstein, to me, is one of the biggest shocks I've ever seen. But I guess it shouldn't be that surprising in retrospect because, like I mentioned last time, he's just very popular and people like him and they like that movie. And I guess that was enough of a combination. But he has makeup, and to me, that's not disqualifying, but it has been in the past for a lot of other performances. Like, hey, why did Jacob Elordi not just get nominated and win for Frankenstein or Frankenstein's Monster, but what about Skarsgård last year for Count Orlok? Shouldn't he have been in consideration? Like, he gave a pretty legendary performance too. And then, excuse me, and then what about the
screen time?
Yes, exactly.
Almost.
And then what about the performance capture of it all? What about like legendary performances like Zoe Saldana as Neytiri, or even maybe more so, Andy Serkis, who both played Gollum in Lord of the Ring films, and then of course Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies.
Caesar should have totally won something. That's crazy.
And you know what added insult to injury? Not only that Serkis never get nominated for that performance, the Academy Awards specifically never once gave any of those three films an award for visual effects.
That's insane. I literally was just talking about those movies and being like, dude.
Yeah, they're great.
The first three.
Well, yeah, the only ones that matter.
Oh. Well.
The only ones that, I mean.
I forgot for a second. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's like, it's okay. It's not that bad. But like, especially that first one, I mean, it like shook my world. It was so good.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. That was a moment. For sure. But yeah, that's fascinating. But Yeah, I just feel ultimately on the whole, the Critics' Choice Awards are, to me, I've always said this. Like, people talk bad about the Globes. I think every award body has their own really bad knocks against them. For instance, just this week, the Screen Actors Guild Award, and I'm gonna keep calling them that because Netflix renaming them the Actor Awards is very much anti-union. SAG is a freaking
Yeah.
union. I'm not gonna play ball with that bullshit because they can go fuck themselves in that category. That's what it is.
Suspicious.
That's what it is. But
That's
whatever.
why I saw somebody posting like their nomination, and I was so confused because I did see the actors. I had no idea what was going on. But then they wrote like "Thank you, SAG." I was like, I've never seen that before. But
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna call them that because
that's crazy.
that's propaganda. That's literal propaganda. And I'm not gonna fall for it. Support unions and support working people always. Never turn your back on them. Even working actors too.
Yep.
But SAG themselves are also just continuously putting out nominations there that are shocking to the conscience in that they never nominate international movies. And so one movie that I've been dying to see and I've been wanting to see all week, but I've not been able to because I've just been too busy, is the movie called Sentimental Value. That's the one with Elle Fanning and Stellan Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting a lot of play, a lot of attention. The Globes, for instance, nominated a whole bunch, and they may even well win screenplay, maybe even picture drama at the Globes this weekend. But Screen Actors Guild can't read subtitles, and so they didn't nominate it for a single thing ever, like the whole lineup, right? But they found spots for Jesse Plemons and Begonia. They found spot for Begonia at all, which I mean, people seem to be loving that movie. Again, I haven't seen it. I'll be interested to see what that's actually about, but it just seems like really okay. And then they nominated Kate Hudson for a movie called Song Sung Blue, which was, yeah, exactly, yeah,
The one with Hugh Jackman?
yeah.
For what category?
Best Actress.
There's no way.
And I guarantee you, because she got in here out of nowhere, and this has happened every year, where one person comes in here where they weren't nominated before, she's getting that Oscar nomination. She's getting that Oscar nomination. I'm telling you right now.
Kate Hudson. I do, but that's crazy talk.
It is and it's not, and I'll tell you why. Crazy nominations like this that make no sense happen all the time. Meryl Streep got nominated here for Into the Woods at the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards.
Yeah, she did. I remember that. There's no way.
It's funny because, like, of what, the SAGs today?
For that category.
I'm trying to think about who. Well, I guess no one that will be sorry to not be included. I guess Cynthia Erivo. But again, like, that was never a movie or performances that I was rooting for to be included in the first place. Even before the movie even opened, and it was disappointing. But before it even opened, I was like, I don't think this is gonna have the sauce again. I think
even. I mean, maybe not for actor. Well, yeah, I think it could be for actors.
Jessie Buckley got in, Rose Byrne got in, Emma Stone got in for their individual films. Emma Stone got in for Begonia. Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. I'm trying to think of the other person. Oh, and Chase Infinity. Chase Infinity got in. That's the daughter in One Battle After Another. And Woonmi, what's her name? Woonmi. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but for
From Sinners?
one of the good surprises at the Screen Actors Guild Award nominations was in the category of Best Supporting Actress. You're correct, Alexis. It is from the movie Sinners. She basically played, was it Smoke or Stack? I think it was Smoke's wife or ex-wife. in the movie. I believe the actress name is Wunmi Mosaku. She was nominated for
witch?
Best Supporting Actress. Yes, that's a good
That's exciting.
nomination. And even better, what's interesting, Miles Caton, who played Sammy, was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That was a surprise nomination, and a welcome surprise. I will say, if there's anything I'm enjoying about this award season, there genuinely seems to be some surprises here, as far as like what's included. And what makes this year so unique is that no matter the outcome, the winners for Golden Globe, let's just say the nominations. The nominations seemingly were not influenced by one another, and because Critics' Choice and Globes have their windows closed, this is the first year where the Critics' Choice could not see what the Globes did first and then change their vote to just match with what they have, because they went first, and the Globes don't do that shit. The Globes had their window closed a while ago, so what the results are going to be on this coming Sunday have been baked in well before the winners were even unveiled this past week. So they could be either the same because they were all thinking the same things, or the potential actually is there for them to be very different, which would be rather exciting for me, because I always root for every award show should just pick different winners. I don't like it when it's all just this, like the Oppenheimer year killed me, because it was like, and again, I love Oppenheimer, but like there were more movies than just Oppenheimer that year, and they all should have gotten some love.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's going to be an interesting show to cover. And whenever we can get Alexis back on here, and I want to make sure you're back on that show when we talk about the Golden Globes, that's a really big deal for us. And again, we're going to get to the top moments, our, I guess, favorite moments of 2025, but there are some things that you, Alexis, have to catch us up on because you haven't been here in a few weeks. I know I don't condone it, but I respect your freedom of speech to protest James Cameron to your dying breath. I guess you're never going to watch any one of his movies ever again, but it's okay. It didn't matter because the rest of the world seemingly enjoys it, because at the moment I want to say it's, I think, around 1.1 billion, on its way to 1.2 billion. And projections have it finishing anywhere between
second movie this decade to hit $1 billion.
No. There've been a few. Just $1 billion, yes. There've been a few. But with Fire and Ash hitting $1 billion, James Cameron has now become the only director ever to have 4 movies in a row hit over $1 billion. The 3 Avatar films and Titanic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has he not done other movies?
Terminator, Aliens, True Lies, The Abyss, before Titanic, but in the span of it's just been 4 movies since 1995. But that's because he doesn't just do movies. He does like research. Yeah. He's like basically a marine biologist. Yeah. Like he does a whole bunch of different things. So, but with Fire and Ash being so successful, he has now officially become a billionaire. So good for him. Can't believe it took him this long to be a billionaire, considering the success he's had thus far and everything. But we'll see. There are people who are saying it's maybe going to finish anywhere between 1.5 to 1.7 billion. There are some people who are saying it may very well get closer to 1.8, 1.9. 2 billion is not out of the question. It's not out of the question at all. And I feel like the beauty in all of this is that it doesn't matter really where it ends. At this point, it's a win.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it hit over $1 billion in like what, 17 days, 16 days? Like
around 3
insane. So it may suggest that no matter what, even if it doesn't hit $2 billion, at least it's still $1 billion movie, which is like, that in and of itself is like, hey, that's amazing. So we'll see where the series goes from there. But there are a couple of other films that you did get a chance to experience, and I think we should have the moment to just talk about them not briefly, but just like, just to have that space for them. We ended up watching Wicked for good eventually on our own time, you and I, Alexis, and I think it was pretty bad. Like it
Oh, did you see the deleted scene that came out where
Which
the
one?
Munchkins are making the Yellow Brick Road?
I didn't see that one. No.
Can
That's a
you
different.
imagine if
Yeah,
that scene
no.
was what a difference?
What
Well, I
do you
mean, I feel Alexis, I think all the things that you were
Okay.
saying about the movie, I think were
Yes.
true. I think ultimately it is.
Let me explain. I know that I sent messages, but just so David
Yeah.
explains.
Sure.
I recently was asked why I didn't like this movie, and I think I gave it a really good explanation where
Okay.
I just think that the setup from the first one, I do really like the first one. The setup from the first one in regards to like the political stuff in the movie, which is like a big part of the first one, like it's literally the conflict, was not made well in the second part, if at all.
They didn't go into it at all.
It didn't go anywhere, and all it did was make the conflict bigger by putting them against each other over a guy.
Which no good.
Exactly. The
Well,
Munchkin
if you-
scene was in the movie. Munchkins get denied like access to
Visas, travel visas, I think.
And the
It happens for like 5
scene-
minutes.
Yeah, and I think it might have been like one of the opening scenes, or at least like that like first part where they tried to do stuff. It was the Munchkins. I don't know if they were being forced labor to make the Yellow Brick Road,
Mhm.
because I don't know if you remember the first one.
He
like,
was
setting
gonna
up the
make it,
plans.
and he's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know what
so-
color to use. And
Yeah, so that gave more context as to why the Munchkins were being treated this way and not just like denied.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, it was leaning more towards the
And
political stuff.
that is like my anger towards this movie. Like I feel like that kind of encompasses everything that I just do not like about it.
First of all, I feel like I'm just so increasingly disappointed with normie people because like you need to be more critical about your art, but and I think critical in a smart way, not in a dumb way. David, you and I probably will discuss Stranger Things in a few minutes because that was also a big thing during the holiday. But like, there are legit issues we can discuss about the quality of the season, but so many of the loudest voices that were going online were not smart voices.
Mhm.
They were dumb voices, and they were quite vitriolic in the inability to be able to read text in a story was truly shocking with the criticisms that I was watching online throughout the show, which we'll get to. But as far as Wicked is concerned, I mean, look, the results speak for themselves, don't they? Wicked for Good massively underperformed. I mean, it made money and it was moderately successful, but in comparison to the original movie, I think, what was it? Wicked Part 1 finished worldwide with over $700 million, which is amazing for a movie, for a musical, really, but for that one for sure. Wicked for Good, maybe it'll hit 500 million. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And I think also the responses speak for themselves. So I feel
I think
like
a lot of people went to go watch it more than once, and this time it just was not.
the original movie, this one is not. No, because I mean,
No.
why would you watch this more
Yeah.
than one time? I watched this movie weeks after it came out, and I was just rather awestruck with how lifeless it was. I don't know what was going on, but like, you know, it's one of these things where it's like when I watched Wicked for Good, in the moment, you're not thinking worst movie ever, and it's not even. But there's so many things that are baffling in the moment, and then when you walk out of it and you're thinking about it, you're like,
It's just very anticlimactic.
yes,
That's
it's
what it
it's
was
that
for
and
me.
so many more things than
Because
that.
I was
It's-
excited to see what they did with everything that was going on. They did absolutely nothing with it.
First of all, it looks much worse than the first movie.
It does.
I don't know what happened with they made it like twice or thrice the amount of CGI. It looks far more ugly CGI than the first one did. The first one had a really good balance of special effects. This one was just like, it was
and
one of the
to be fair, I don't really like how the first one looks.
Mhm.
So
No, none of us do. I mean, I was like insulted that it was even nominated for best cinematography at the Academy Awards. Like that was, and then this one's far worse. And with the exception of For Good, the songs are quite abysmal. Quite abysmal. This is a musical, and if the songs aren't good,
there's a problem.
the writing choices, the character choices are just bafflingly idiotic. And as you say, Alexis, it drops huge threads from the first movie. The whole animal thing is an afterthought. The fact that the Wizard of Oz happens to be Alphaba's dad,
Never mentioned. Till
Alphaba never even realizes.
Alphaba doesn't even find out.
It never gets a follow-up. It just, the
Sorry.
only follow-up is that
I don't mind, but like that actually kind of sucks. Like,
Glinda brings it up. By the way, she's your daughter. And he's like, and then we never see him again.
Yep. And then she sends him away. Nothing happens.
These are the things that...
with what's her name? Miss Marble, whatever her name
Marble.
is. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens with Nessa. That's like, I think that was the one I was most excited to see.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
Nessa...
the only like not cool, like I enjoyed it. Like at first it was a little like jarring, but then after I thought about it, I was like, okay, that's not bad. Is the Tin Man.
Okay. I mean, if you want to be generous about it, sure. For me, I just think everything involving this movie contorting itself to fit into the Wizard of Oz damned this movie. That's why I feel personally it was damned from the very beginning, no matter how good it would have been, because it just spends too much time reminding you, hey, by the way, Dorothy and her friends are off in the background of this whole movie. Every time this movie cuts to Dorothy, it's just so awkward. And then I think to me, this is the big issue that you just can't overlook. Everything involving is just so poorly handled. By the time we get to the end,
hate Glinda.
by the time you get to the end, I don't even understand how you're in a place where you can root for her or even sympathize, because like this is a character who at the end of the first film was exposed to the wizard being a fraud, and she signed up to be part of that whole thing, and he's
like,
complicit in
not Glinda, Alphaba, like basically set her up to, I guess, like rule this place. There's no way, like, no, she literally took part in killing her sister. I don't understand.
Glinda never she doesn't have her like come to Jesus moment until like maybe 85% into the movie, where she has a musical number in the midst of a mob happening in the background. And this happens after she gets told to shut up by Michelle Yeoh. And then she is like, oh, maybe I'm on the wrong side. It's a very stupid movie, I gotta tell you. Like, and then everything involving Fiyero, it was, I'm like, what was going on with this movie? I feel like something, it's like, I don't like, you watch the first movie and it's genuinely delightful.
Yeah.
I genuinely really love the first movie. This one, it's like, is there a gas leak in this place? Like, what went wrong? Like, there's just nothing about it has any kind of like earnestness or enthusiasm or life, and except For Good, which itself gets undercut by the whole movie that came before it.
Yep. I told you.
So basically, everything that Alexis said about this movie was true. Everything.
You're welcome.
Here's a small clip from the Mayo podcast that I wanted to play. of people who feel similarly to us.
I'm one of the few that's happy that it's split into 2 parts, because now I feel like I can watch part 1 and stop. Because my general opinion is that Act 1 of Wicked is really good anyway,
Right.
and Wicked Part 1 is a perfect adaptation of the first part whilst improving on it.
Okay.
And I think that Act 2, or For Good, is a really direct adaptation of the second act of the Wicked stage show,
Okay.
and somehow it made it worse.
Huh.
Because I think the second act of Wicked kind of forgets about its own story and taking characters that, yes, we recognise and doing something different with them, and starts becoming, hey, have you seen The Wizard of Oz? Do you remember The Wizard of Oz? Hey, this character, they're the Tin Man. And I'm like, I think once you get past that surprise, and I do think it's like a roller coaster ride, the first time you watch that, I imagine you can give me some insight on that, because obviously you didn't know these twists.
No.
But I think once you get past the, oh my God, he's the Scarecrow.
Okay.
There's not much left.
Yeah. And somehow, because there was so much goodwill with the first movie, Wicked for Good, despite the fact that at this point has been knocked out of the race, the fact that it was even in the race is pathetic enough, but like, hey, and I've been saying it for a month now, it's like, why is this happening? But yeah, at the end of the day, Wicked for Good was a far more major presence and player in the award scene, garnering multiple nominations and shortlist mentions than Rian Johnson's latest film, Wake Up Dead Man, which features a lead performance by Josh O'Connor, which even a month after having seen it, I can already tell you, is being very much well-remembered and will be well-remembered. And that is somebody who, after appearing in 4 or 5 movies in the last year, at the very least, anybody should have included him in any of the nominations for anything. The fact that the Golden Globes has 2 different categories for drama and for comedy, they have 12 slots between the two. 12 slots. To include Josh O'Connor, and they couldn't even give him one of those, but they instead chose to give freaking Dwayne The Rock Johnson for the abysmally reviewed Smashing Machine earlier in the year.
Way.
They did that, and then to make matters worse, I've come to find out that Netflix, as per usual, is the villain here. Because what happened, even though this was their own movie that they spent their own money making, is, I heard the backstory that they were very disappointed with the lackluster results with the last campaign they ran for the last Knives Out movie, Glass Onion, back in 2022, because they felt like they really gave that movie a whole like big awards push with, you know, junkets and interviews and press, and everything. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, Glass Onion only managed a screenplay nomination for Rian Johnson, which is not nothing. But it was, I guess, not worth the money. But they were so depressed with that outcome, they didn't even bother launching an awards campaign for Wake Up Dead Man until like a week after it was already in theaters, and they realized, wait a minute, people like this one?
Oh,
I guess let's go ahead. By the way, and then a day later, for your consideration, and of course they fumbled that too, Best Supporting Actor, Josh O'Connor.
That's insane.
Category fraud. He is the lead of that movie. What are you doing putting him in supporting actor? But even at that point, it was too late. The people had already nominated and watched and settled on what they were going to include. They're not going to have time to just open it up for one more. That's not going to happen. And they, I think especially, miscalculated with the fact that supporting actress was wide open. People have been wanting to give Glenn Close an award for years. This could have been the time to do it. This could have been the time, because she ate up that scenery in that movie. This could have been the role. And it didn't happen because Netflix was like, I guess they bet the horse on the wrong. No, to be fair to Netflix, Frankenstein worked out in their favor. It's getting a lot of nominations and getting some wins, sure. But like you could have gotten even more with Wake Up Dead Man, I feel. All of which is to say, it is a joke that Wicked for Good got this far and getting all these nominations, and yet we have much better films who are not even being involved in the conversation. Alexis, which should lead us into talking about Wake Up Dead Man. You saw it. What did you think?
It was so good. It honestly, I feel like it surprised me with, I mean, I knew that there was going to be a priest, but I really did not know anything else about the movie. And so at least with like what it has to say, which I guess shouldn't have surprised me because I feel like that's how the rest of the movies are, like the commentary that each movie has. But this one really surprised me with what it had to say, and I'm glad that like it's resonating with a lot of people because I think it did with me too. I feel like the mystery aspect, like the first one still takes the lead, but this one was really good. And what's his name? The detective,
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, I really liked him in this movie because like the other ones, it's like he knows that he's playing a character, you know, like there is that like distinction where it's like this character is like not real. But here you get to see like a different side of him, and you see him like kind of contemplate like you know, his own belief system, and I resonated most with him with what he had to say. But yeah, you know what? So anytime they talk bad about religion, I'm there. But I do like that they did kind of have this like a
dialogue counter
argument to the bad, you know?
Right.
That's, you know, that's also important. But yeah, I really liked it.
You know, it's funny how a lot of the things that you're saying is basically how a lot of people are kind of taking it, where it's like, you're a couple of things that just take at face value because they're true. All three of these movies are on their own really good movies, and as a whole, it's an amazing series of films. And Rian Johnson should be commended. And I think really this all rests on the writing ability of Rian Johnson, and it's truly remarkable. Yes, you can say that of the three films, whether it be the mystery aspect itself and or the ensemble, perhaps maybe in comparison to the other ones, not the strongest, but that's not, I do feel that people miss the point when they say that, because I think that is ultimately the point. I feel like with Glass Onion, Rian Johnson really, it did feel like in a lot of ways like a direct sequel of Knives Out, which is like, here's the same vibe. We're going to have these outlandish personalities, and that's going to like navigate a lot of the film. And then even with Glass Onion, you could even say, I feel like despite the fact that Janelle Monáe is presented as the lead, I do feel it's still more Benoit Blanc's movie. Yeah. Really, with Glass Onion, you know? I do feel like with Wake Up Dead Man, by design, the choice was made that the cast was going to be not as star-studded. There's still some pretty big stars here. But because they weren't going to be as involved. They are, but they're not going to be as involved as the previous two ensembles were, because this really is less of an ensemble piece and more of just a Josh O'Connor movie, a Father Judd movie. But now the ensemble is still impeccable, of course, and they have their moments for sure, but they're not the main focus of the story. It's Father Judd and all the people that he comes into contact with. And I think it's even further propelled by the fact that with this movie, more than the other two, it really did feel like there was something personal that Rian wanted to say with this movie, and that he himself was having a whole devil and an angel thing while making this movie, and even as he goes through life, because he has a big background in religion. He no longer is involved or cares much for religion, but I think ultimately that's the artist there manifesting his 2 points of view with Father Judd and with Benoit Blanc. And to me, I feel like what really makes the movie special more than the other two, what gives us this one more meaning, are the conversations that are being had here. And the fact that, and what you said, Alexis, is true. What makes us so unique is the fact that you have a believer and a non-believer.
And they both make really good points.
Yes, they're both kind of equal to each other. They're both kind of valid, and they both help each other with what's going on. Like, I think it's truly, as you say, what made it this is the first one of the three where it does feel like Benoit Blanc feels like a fully dimensional character, three-dimensional character in a lot of ways, in that it's not his movie, but he's a big part of it, obviously, but he comes in, you know, a little later into the movie, and he feels much more like a supporting player, as he really should be, obviously, but he feels his most challenged. He feels,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, like he doesn't really know how to act with, he himself
He
ends up
feels
getting baffled.
I felt he was very uncomfortable with the
Right,
setting.
right.
I mean, he didn't even want to like walk into the church, you know?
Yeah,
Which,
it's like,
again, I feel like that's very like I just resonate a lot with that.
sure, yeah.
But I love that he like listens to Father Judd and like even like acknowledges like what he has to say and how Father Judd expresses himself of
Right.
what he does. Like he's very like respectful of it and like truly believes that like this person believes that
I
he's
mean,
like, you know what I mean?
it all comes to a head, right? When like he basically sacrifices his big moment. Like earlier in the film, he tells Mila Kunis and Josh O'Connor, it's like, that moment when I begin to unravel my opponent's web. Oh, you'll see, it's fun. And then to not have that happen when he's about to do it, and then like he all of a sudden stops, and then he gives grace. Ironic, obviously, he gives grace to his enemy, which is the Glenn Close, who Glenn Close gets to have basically the Benoit Blanc monologue in a way. And she kills it. She kills it. Like it is such like I have to say this was maybe more than the other two the most satisfying web to untangle, I guess, than the other ones, because it's just the whole presentation and also what it meant. That's a big thing for Benoit Blanc to give that up, you know, and then also help Father Judd complete his arc in return. It was, I don't know, it just felt so soul nourishing in a way that Glass Onion I love, as well as Knives Out. Glass Onion I love for a different way. I love it for the anger, and for the fury. And Knives Out had heart as well, but I do think that with Wake Up Dead Man, it even more so delivered in that department. And
it feels like the Toy Story trilogy. Doesn't it?
I guess.
Like,
How would what's your comp to that? Why?
The first one is just very surprising. Like you're not expecting
right.
what is shown to us.
Instant classic
and
out of the
like,
gate.
Yeah, and it's fun. And, you know, the second one, I feel like the second Toy Story movie has a little bit of that. As far as like with Woody and like his like crisis and all of that. And then the third one, I mean, you're a wreck.
yeah.
And I feel like this one, like the third one, you're I mean, in the third one he's literally leaving them, you know, and like moving on, and here it's like you just kind of get this like feeling of like, oh shit, like what do I think? Like it just makes you question yourself.
I will say it may be recency bias, but I think Benoit Blanc gets a much more fully fleshed look here. Like, not just with the hair and the beard, but like just the fashion choices, like the glasses, the coat that he has, the suit and suit and tie. It just feels like this character has now gotten to a point where he feels more like a person and less of a character now, which is really interesting. But can we just say, man, Father Judd, what an immensely likable character. Josh O'Connor, I mean, what can I say? Those of us who are Josh O'Connor truthers are not surprised in the least that he was able to pull this off, but like, I can't believe how it's such a good performance and yet not been nominated anywhere. No critics groups, no awards guilds, nothing for this movie franchise is 3 for 3. I should say 0 for 3 and getting any actor nominated for any award. which is truly incredible because, like, really?
Has it won? Has any of them
Nothing.
won?
Nothing. That's 1-0.
Great.
It's 1-0. You know what's also an aspect of the movie that's not as I know what to. I'm sorry, I'm spending too much time on this. We'll get to that. I was just gonna say the cinematography is amazing, and the shots that Ryan decides to use are just like spectacular. And we'll leave it there.
They are.
Real quick, Money Supreme.
Mm.
What a movie!
What?
I'll say it might be my favorite soundtrack of the year.
Oof. Don't
Score,
even
and
get
that's
me started. Oh my god.
an amazing score. I mean, we had to stop David from dragging us out of the theater. We wanted to watch or listen to Tear for Fears through the theater sound system. He was like,
Oof.
"Yeah, no, you gotta hear that song, of course." But it's an interesting discourse for that movie, that's for sure. I feel like we all had an interesting reaction to it, and yet in the days that have followed and in listening to some really bad faith discourse
I feel
happen,
like people are being so dramatic about it.
they really are. Yeah.
Like,
If anybody has a right to be dramatic about it, it's, I would say, and I'll put this lightly, it's people who may know someone that would be like Marty Supreme.
but even
And the
then,
fact that
like,
those people weren't,
the movie's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just
Timothy's amazing.
Nice.
All the actors do a really good job in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like every person, the directing.
The
I saw today
story,
that,
like everything
Josh-
is
yeah.
so good.
Josh Safdie got nominated today for by the Directors Guild of America, as he was included in the list of directors for Director of the Year, and it's well deserved. Like, the
Yeah.
direction here is truly masterful. David,
Mhm.
I was just gonna say, like, it's a really good movie about a guy who is manipulating his way to get what he wants, and whether it's actually kind of questionable where you think it's a win or not.
right?
How he gets to the end, and yeah, I don't think I've seen any of the other like Safdie brothers movies. I know they made Good Time and that one with
Uncut Gems, Adam
Uncut
Sandler.
Gems, and from all of them,
And
I
the
keep
other
hearing this-
softie did The Smashing Machine with Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, which got 2 nominations at the Golden Globes, but that
Stop.
one was
wow.
not. Yeah, but that one wasn't received nearly as well.
Dang,
Mhm.
In fact, it was received so, midly, I guess you could say. People were like, well, I guess we know where the talent truly lies in this brother duo. That's what people were saying.
That's so risky to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
That sucks. I mean, I think people were saying that about the ones that directed Matrix.
Oh, the Wachowskis?
Yeah. So it happens, but yeah, what I keep hearing though is like it's basically like how the other movies were, fast paced, really tension heavy throughout the whole movie. It did get me excited to like watch the other movies. I haven't yet, but
Sure.
I really do want to watch it at some point just to see how compare and contrast the quality of it, and I think if I do understand now the whole fast paced tension that people keep saying about the other movies, and so I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah. I'll say is it has lingered some. And I'm very much tempted to include it in like my movie of the years, but like, or movies of the year, I should say. But like I don't know if I'm there just yet with that movie. I will say though, David, I an interesting companion piece in I guess a different way, but to me a movie that I find much more invigorating and interesting and is of a similar cloth would be Challengers. I feel like that's a movie we need to get you to watch. And what's also interesting about Challengers is that it also has a rather unique and amazing score in its own right by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And it also has Josh O'Connor, who gives, and this is the thing about Josh O'Connor, and every movie he gives a radically different performance. This guy has range. And by the way, he's going to be in a Spielberg movie this year, starring alongside Coleman Domingo and Emily Blunt. Like, this is pretty big stuff. We watched that trailer, and I think we all had really good feelings about that trailer. That the sound that was coming
Even
out
our
of Emily Blunt's
dad texted
mouth.
us
Mm.
and was like, I'm excited.
Yeah. I think it was called Disclosure Day. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting, and I feel like we'll see. I'm curious to see what Spielberg has to say, because I remember a lot of the interviews that he was giving around 2023 this time when Fabelmans came out, and he didn't quite know what he was going to do next. But evidently he had some kind of idea about UFOs, and he wanted to say something about it, and that's how this movie came about, which is really interesting because this is the guy that made Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is a movie you got to see, David. I'm told, and you told me that you watched the first three, which was Duel, Sugarland Express, and finally Jaws. The next movie in that lineup from 1977 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and I'm sure at the very least you got to watch that before.
He do the Tom Cruise movie with Dakota Fanning?
Yeah,
He did
War of
that
the
one,
Worlds.
right? Have you
Yeah.
seen that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He also did the other Tom Cruise movie, which with, I don't know who else was in it, with Max von Sydow and who else? And Colin Farrell. It was Minority Report. So yeah, this movie, based on its look, feels like something he would have made in the early 2000s. But we'll see what this does. But yeah, that for sure is, like, at the moment, one of my most anticipated movies of this coming year. And as far as news is concerned, not much to say about, the Avengers and Marvel. They can do what they want. It's not working on us. It's really kind of bored. So you can find somebody else to discuss that. And then also with the Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount, they're continuing to go at it, and it's insane and dramatic and pathetic. But here we are. And I will say, I quite enjoyed the 5th season of Stranger Things. I thought on the whole it was really, really good. I do think that there are some significant shortcomings. And ultimately, okay, so I'll say, and David, and I know Alexis, you don't care, so we'll let anything rip here.
Episode.
Okay. So at least you know how it ends, right? So,
Yes.
but I do feel like this.
Before you
yes.
continue, can I say
Yes.
one complaint?
Yes.
I'm
Go
really
ahead.
glad we watched Marty Supreme before watching those episodes, because the music choice in that last episode was very disappointing.
Which one?
All of it.
Interesting.
I was literally
Okay.
waiting for the moment, like, what song are they going to play? What song are they going to use? I was very upset. Okay, that's all I have to say because I didn't watch the show.
Okay. I'm curious to hear what you think, David. I'll say is, I think it became pretty apparent early on that this wasn't going to top season 4.
Mhm.
And not even close. I think 4 is still, for me anyway, my favorite season of the whole show. I just really love everything about the 4th season. That being said, there are a lot of really high character moments for 5. I will say, and I'm curious to hear what you think, because I know that when we left 4, we were concerned about what was going to happen with Nancy, Jonathan, and with Steve, and I feel like they largely avoided some of our worst fears about that.
Mhm.
And I really do like where they landed with those moments. I surprisingly really enjoyed the inclusion of Holly Wheeler. I thought that the actor that they included was actually really captivating, and her involvement with with Max, and Max being here and actually a much more prominent part of the season than I would have imagined. I loved all of that. I especially enjoyed, I think they really did a lot to bring Mike back into the focus as the heart. Like, he was just much more charismatic here than he was in the last 2 seasons, or at least the last season for sure, in how he was speaking. He had really great scenes with like Will and with Holly and with Eleven and really everybody. I loved just about everything with Will, especially with Will and Robin. That stuff was incredible. Some really captivating moments there for sure. And nitpicks, criticisms. I do feel if there's, at the end of the day, while I like this season a lot, I do think it's the weakest of all 5. I think it's the weakest of all 5. I'm not saying by a lot, but I just think for me, if I'm looking, this didn't feel like a season. It felt like one long movie, which can have its pluses and minuses. And maybe that adds to the feeling of it. But I don't think what helped is that it took so long. I do think we would have gotten maybe a slightly better version of this season, slightly, if this had come out the year or maybe even 2 years after 4. It's almost going to be 4 years since Stranger Things season 4. It to me, honestly, I think it took way too long to get. Yes, this year is going to be 4 years since that season came out.
What the heck?
Yeah.
That's what's gonna. So it's like I do think that factored into everything, into the making. The fact that the actors look way older than they should for what they're playing. That doesn't help with anything either. I do wish that they had killed Linda Hamilton. Not Linda Hamilton, sorry. Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because she had nothing to do this season except just like look menacingly and do nothing. That was a waste of a character. They should have just kept Brenner instead of and do something interesting with but the whole military subplot, especially this year, was like a big nothing burger that went nowhere, and I hated it. I also was kind of sad they didn't give Winona Ryder much to do. I mean, she was here and there. They gave her one moment at the end, which, by the way, I was listening to the House of Art podcast with Joanna and with Mallory, and they're hysterical. They were like, so wait a minute. They had, in canon, 47-year-old Joyce Byers climb up that tower all the way into the abyss dimension. And when you think about it, it's like, wait a minute. Oh, okay. I think they really mishandled that character, because I think every year I really enjoyed with Joyce Byers contributed to the show. And I think what they should have done, I can't believe so at the end of the last season, she and Hopper are finally together, and they hardly have any interaction this entire season. I think what would have been far more interesting was to have Joyce and Hopper join forces to help each other with Eleven and Will and their problems, instead of being so separated. I got a little bit frustrated about that, if I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get really mad about Dustin and Steve. I think those are real issues that they were going through. And I think ultimately how it came about and how it ended up being resolved, okay, fine. There were, and I also, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of characters that kind of were left up in the air we didn't ever catch up with, which is interesting. But all in all, there were some truly beautiful moments that are going to be remembered for this show. I think there are 2 moments that involve Will that are going to be remembered. The one with episode 4 with him, basically stealing Vecna's powers. And then, of course, the coming out scene in the 7th episode.
Mm-hmm.
But that finale, that was a legitimately good finale. Sure, the action's the action. And it looked great. And, you can say maybe it was a little anticlimactic, but hey, it's what it was building up to. But they really delivered on that epilogue. And it delivered on some really beautifully, emotionally done character moments that I think really what make the finale and make the season overall worthwhile. And yeah, that's where it is. There's a lot of things you can say about it that like maybe they should have killed more characters. Maybe they were a bit too much like pussyfooting around. And yes, it did get to a point where we have such a massive cast here. But I think it speaks to what a good job this show did, that no matter how many new people they brought in, almost instantaneously they were like fan favorites. Now, to be fair, there were a couple of people in the background that were like, well, are you really even here? Or should we even have you here? And, there are things and nitpicks that for sure are going to have here this season. But ultimately, I felt pretty satisfied with how this show wrapped up. David, your thoughts?
No, yeah, I was satisfied with how the show wrapped up, for sure. For the plot itself, I thought it was really moving in the beginning, but then right in the middle, like it slowed down for me.
It did,
like,
huh?
So much.
It did.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it was exactly. I don't know if they just felt like they were making things a bit too complicated or something. I don't know, but there was definitely problems with that. But I think they did nail it with the ending. I know, yes, like you mentioned, the action of it wasn't that great.
It was fine.
It was fine.
serviceable. It was.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this ending. Like I've seen finales to a lot of other shows. You mentioned it before. People were comparing it to Game of Thrones final season. It's not that. It's far from it. But I've seen finales of other shows where there were some that I'm actually rewatching one, Person of Interest. I've mentioned that many, many times. I love that show. I'm rewatching it. But that ending, it's a good ending, but I'm not really in love with it. I'm not emotional about it. With this final season, I was crying in a lot of moments with these characters. Like legitimately, tearing
in tears,
up.
yeah.
And then, that final shot of the show, like it
killed me.
I know what you're going for. So like the fact that you have this mess of a show, like there's no denying it. Every season, like you got some great highs, but the lows are just like, where the heck were you going with this? And so, but there's just no denying that, like, we love these characters. We love the actors themselves. We know it does seem like they're all having fun with it. Even they understand too that it's a bit of a mess. I just saw clips of Sadie Sink. She was talking about the third season,
the finale.
It was after her brother died.
Billy.
Yeah. And she was just like, I was reading the script and I was so confused by what was happening, because the scene after, like, her brother dies, it's her and whoever her boyfriend is,
Lucas,
singing, making fun of the whole, like, that song that the dude,
the Never-Ending Story, that
the Never-Ending
Justin
Story song, like they were
had
singing
to do
with
Susie at the end of season 3. Yeah, that whole thing.
They were singing it. And she was just like, her brother just died. Why are we doing this? Like, shouldn't she be heartbroken? And so, like, even the actors know, like, this is a bit of a mess, but they're having a good time. I'm sure they love the fans and the fandom of it all. And, I would much prefer this than feeling like lackluster of an ending, So it's kind of it's pretty interesting.
In a finale and in a final season, more so than in a finale and in a final season, more so than you would hope the best that they can execute the main storyline. But if that fails or falls short of that, at the very least, you should be able to hope for truly satisfying character moments, right? To fill you with a sense of closure. That is something Rise of Skywalker couldn't do. Therefore, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because it completely fails as a finale on every level imaginable. And by the way, just to mention that real quick, it's very, very just fitting how the director of that movie called Wicked for Good his favorite movie of 2025. I mean, that was... you can't make this shit up. Like, of all the movies, that's the one he's gonna go with, and it's like, well, yeah, I guess you would think that, wouldn't you? I also just feel, I think season 4 was the perfect blend of like practical and VFX, right? I think, I don't know what happened. Again, this was made post a lot of things like the strikes and all that stuff, but there were some moments where it was like, hey, this looks a little bit too CG than it needs to, right? Like this is, although give him credit where credit is due, that Mind Flayer flesh thing looked pretty incredible.
I think visually this is probably one of the, okay, well, let me get on my little rant here. People were shit talking that scene of the Max leaving
the dream world, basically.
The dream world, yeah. People were comparing, you know, that's the 4th and 5th season moments and all that. This is better looking. Okay. People who say it's the last one's better, go fuck yourself. Because that last one, it's too blended into the background. You can't tell the difference between the foreground and the background. That is the whole point of a 3-point lighting. Okay, you see what I'm doing here? I'm giving myself a red light so that I'm not too blended into the background. Okay, that is the whole point of 3-point lighting. That is what you're seeing in the 5th season. Okay, it's a red background in her, and then when she's talking to Holly, you know, it's a little bit faint of a white light. That's just basic lighting right there. And then I get that, you know, but then also too in the 4th season, it's super dark. You can't see much of her running away of things. And then there's just like, and you see this with all kinds of, you especially see this with the Wicked part 1, you know, the Defying Gravity moment. There's like, and you see those other movies, there's like this filter right on the screen. It's almost looks foggy, almost looks gray. That's what they were doing in the 4th season. And they did that because of the CGI and all that. With this 5th season, it looked like she was actually on a stage. Like I'm genuinely questioning, like, are those little spire things real or is it CG?
Well, actually, the where Vecna is at with the 12 kids, the interior, that's a set. They made that.
Well, I mean, the Dreamworld part of it is what I'm mostly.
I'm sure parts of it are as well.
Yeah, maybe.
I completely. I don't think it was all VFX.
Yeah, but it is better, and I get that. And I'm not saying like the 5th one is like a beautiful looking scene. I'm just saying it's better than the one in the 4th season. Okay, because yes, when she's running away, it's a bit overexposed when she gets closer and closer to the portal, I guess you can say. And then I got kind of disappointed when you see Holly's perspective going from the portal. The white light is also hitting her, which I kind of was disappointed by, because it's like, no. You give the white light to Max because she's not dying, but going into the light, you know, she's getting free, but you keep Holly darker. You know, you keep her red, or maybe you give her like a little more of a warm color, because I think where the other planet is at, it's more yellowish, the sky. And so you give her a darker light, because even though she's escaping, she's not, you know, safe yet. And so you kind of give that sense of dread with her. You know, you're supposed to worry about her. And so when you notice that her leaving, there's still like a little white light. It's like, no. The wrong color. But again, they're not blending into the background. It's contrast, basically, foreground and background. So I got so pissed off while people were saying like, "Oh, the horse look better."
Dude,
like, no,
I got pissed
wasn't.
off all season for like they were like almost like a hit piece campaign, where it's like from the very first time that the volume 1 drop, there were these self-proclaimed fans of the show that were just like, "Oh my god, the acting's the worst, the writing's the worst, the visual's the worst, the story's the worst. I can't believe how far it's fallen." It's like, they're not saying, "Oh, it's not as good." They're saying it is the worst thing ever made in humanity. And they just, I guess, I don't know what was going on, but it was, the algorithm was working overload to like feed that propaganda. And you have to wonder, like, why was Elon Musk's personal app filtering a lot of the hate tweets about that show, especially once it got to a certain gay character that was like, "Hey, by the way, here's who I am." And then apparently the whole worst people imaginable united to review bomb that episode on online ratings. So apparently, and they tracked this down, all the worst homophobic countries gave episode 7 the lowest rating of the entire series because it featured that moment. And then what made it even more, I guess, comical is that the Byler stands are like, yeah, it's the worst because I didn't get what I wanted. Because they were like the Byler shippers that they wanted Will and Mike to be a thing. And they also were like, well, fuck you. So they're going to join forces with the homophobes to review bomb the episode. And that just kind of sums up the season in a nutshell. It's like, you just can't win. I will tell you, though, I feel like I've seen a lot less hate after that finale. I think the finale has been received very well. And I think that kind of like cooled things, or at least smoothed things over. And I got to tell you, part of me does regret not watching it in a theater. That would have been a fun time to do just that. Because it was like, oh, man. I can imagine what certain like moments would be when you watch it and everything. And I will say, this is such a huge show. I am curious to see how this season will hold up to upon rewatch and everything. So
yeah, that's the thing though. I mean, for this season, I'm not really sure where it stands in all of them. I think for sure the second and third are in the low category. I don't know which ones will be first. Maybe fourth.
How long has it been since you've watched the other seasons? Okay, I've rewatched every episode in anticipation of the fifth one, so I have a much more fresh like update on it, and I do feel like, from a personal standpoint, I actually do like 3 and 4 as my favorite seasons. Personally, I really liked 3. But I guess people didn't like it when it came. I don't know. People are going to be people who are they going to be, you know? So there's that.
Yeah.
Anywho, okay. Let's get to some of our favorite moments of the year. I'll start off with one. One of my favorite moments, or I guess I combine a couple of different things together. Watching, this is my number one. My number one is watching Netflix movies in actual movie theaters. So Frankenstein, Wake Up Dead Man, and with you, Alexis, it's seared into my mind, K-pop Demon Hunters. All of which are just like such, I mean, and we watched obviously Wake Up Dead Man together at the Angelica Film Center and Cafe Theater, which was such a memorable experience. I mean, look, I love going to movies. I always love seeing new movie theaters, and then having a good movie to watch this with makes the whole experience, right? But to me, it was like, in my own way, it felt like a small little fuck you to Netflix, where it's like, I'm not going to watch these things on your streaming service yet. I'm going to go watch them in a theater.
Wake Up Dead Man the day that the news broke.
And, wait. Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
We watched it
we
the day
literally got so triggered by the dun dun.
Well, you weren't expecting it. Because like,
just,
the movie opens with the Netflix.
I mean, 'cause I can't remember the last. Well, I guess like probably
Frankenstein.
Glass Onion.
But you didn't watch Frankenstein in theaters. Okay.
And then like before that was.
Well, K-pop, right? K-pop has a Netflix logo in the beginning, right?
Did it have it?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think so. Or if not, it had like the logo, or maybe even like Netflix Presents. But I'm sure it was part of the opening thing. I mean, you probably couldn't tell because of the screaming children in the theater. So
that's true.
You know, it's kind of hard to remember. But no, I love. They're all, to me, just experiences I'll cherish. So I watched, and they're all in different theaters. So with Frankenstein, I watched it with Peter at the Calexico Theater, and we were the only 2 people there, obviously. And I don't know what was going on, but it was a freezing day that day. And then they decided to turn up the AC to like 54 degrees in there. So it was like blaring down on us while we were watching the movie. But it was, you know, the movie was what the movie was, and we enjoyed ourselves with it. And of course, you and I watched Wake Up Dead Man, and we had a really good crowd. You know, it's a really good movie, and it played very well. And God, such amazing laughs in that movie too, which it's funny because it's less of a little bit less of a comedy than the other 2, but it still has some huge laughs. I mean, what killed everybody was freaking Benoit playing the piano to cut off Father Judd in the middle of his confession. That, come on, you can't get better than that. But of course, a true highlight, you and I watching it, I believe at one of the, I forget, I think the one of the nearby Regals in Chula Vista, K-pop Demon Hunters. That was a rather unique experience, and I'm so glad I was able to be there because and I liked the movie before, but of course
I'm
when you
so
watch it
glad
in a
I
theater,
waited to
I'm
watch it
sure
there
you
for the
do.
first
Yeah,
time.
it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, you talk about it. I'm sure it was like just a really fun time.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was singing. I was
You weren't the
so
only one.
excited.
I can
Yeah,
barely hear
I
your
was
voice
so
with everybody
excited
else.
to see everybody else because I mean, it was like meant for that, right? But
Yes.
like, I love just like watching old musicals in the theater.
Mhm.
So it was, even though it was new, like, you know, it had already been out like 2 months, I think, by that time. So it was just like so fun to be with everybody. And even though it was like a bunch of kids and their parents, like, I don't care. It was so fun. And the
Yeah,
movie's
no,
really
it
good.
was.
And the music is really good.
Yeah, it was an experience that I'm not gonna forget soon enough. Okay, my number 2 is watching older movies on the big screen. These are films that have been around for a long time, but it was my first time actually watching them. So I feel like when I look at the movies that I actually watched in theaters that were new, maybe it's around like 30, 32, 33. But then it expands even more so with some of the older films. And I would say with the exception of a few, most of these I had seen before. But it was my first time watching it in theaters. And as can be said, and I think can be attested to by everybody here, it's a different experience. So these movies are Kill Bill. We watched Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. It was 4.5 hours. The cut itself with the intermission, and we were there for at least over 5 hours in that room. That was something. Toy Story for the 30th anniversary. I believe for the 60th anniversary, Sound of Music. For the 40th anniversary, Back to the Future. For the 50th anniversary, Jaws. For the 20th anniversary, Revenge of the Sith. There wasn't an anniversary here, but I got to watch this one with some of my friends in LA at the Cosm, which was a miniature version of the Sphere, the Matrix, which was awesome. A really unique experience there. I also got to watch, and these two, well, maybe it was the 10th anniversary-ish, but not really. It was just Shin Godzilla and then also Ponyo. So, really interesting mix of movies there that I got to experience in theaters. And then I'll also, and as you can tell, a lot of these are going to be movies, so I'm going to go ahead and continue it on with number 3. Movies that I got to watch with my class, and then, again, experience these films with people who largely hadn't seen them. So, The Sandlot, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Back to the Future, and Home Alone. Amazing.
Wait, what did you think of The Sandlot?
They loved it.
Oh my god,
They loved it.
I remember we were watching that a couple of years ago, dude.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah. Why is that surprising? But okay.
No.
Because it's a Sandlot. What do you mean you didn't watch it at school?
What? No, I never.
That's like a movie that they like religiously put on at school.
I don't remember ever watching it.
Girl, there's no way your teachers didn't like you.
But I said rewatching though, not.
Oh, not for the first time.
No, I saw it for the first time with Dad, like many years ago, and it was really fun. But I said rewatching it a couple of years ago. I was so confused by your reaction. I'm like, yeah, it's a rewatch. Am I supposed to watch it every year or something? I don't know what. Anyway, great movie, holds up super well, and I don't think you'll ever see a movie like that ever again. It's just it's so good. Closest one movie you ever got to it that doesn't really count. Stranger Things, like with the little kids and what they dealt with,
Right.
but like it's a completely different genre. So
Apples and oranges, basically. But no, I agree with you. I also had not watched this movie in quite some time. I basically relived it while watching with them, and I was like, in a way, almost having an out of body experience. It's like, wow. And I really put in that extra effort because, I'm a big movie guy, obviously, and I wanted them to have the full experience. So I even bought a sound bar so they can be able to hear it as I know.
Okay.
I mean, I bought it for myself too. It's behind me, so it's like
Yeah.
it's a win-win. But like, yeah, I wanted them to have the full effect, and it was pretty nice to be able to do that. And then I have a long list of movies that I watched for the very first time. I hope the camera is gonna on Alexis so she can have her jaw on the floor and gasp because
There's
these are
no
gonna be
way.
pretty hilarious. How I had not seen these in their entirety. Some of these I've seen like clips and moments and memes and gifs from like cultural osmosis, but some of these movies are gonna quite shock you. In that, like, how are you like a 30-something person and you've not seen this? Well, it is what it is, right? And you really can't do nothing about that. So I have a long list. So okay, Meet the Robinsons.
really,
What is that?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I heard like a click, right? That's weird.
The clicker? What's
I
that?
heard,
Okay.
I heard something on the same.
No. Okay. Yeah. That's just one. I had not seen.
That's like one of David's favorite movies.
It's really
Right?
good. It's a really good movie. I was like, so what? It's not one of your favorites?
I mean, I really like it, especially that ending of it. Like, I just
Mhm.
the whole.
But you wouldn't call it one of your favorites.
I mean,
You're not sure?
maybe I haven't. I mean, I'm not in the
I
grand
haven't watched
scope
it in a
of.
while, but I feel like when we were little, we would watch it a lot because of you.
Yeah, I for sure at the age I was when it came out, the whole future time travel aspect of it definitely got my attention and all that.
Sure.
But that ending definitely like resonates with me. I love that ending.
I'll tell you, this is one of the ones where it probably was a consequence of, at that point, me not being as invested with original Disney animation as much as I was with Pixar, because this came out 2007, and I remember the promo ads for this when it was new, right, in theaters. I don't know what happened after Chicken Little. I guess I didn't go back to watching Disney movies for a while. But yeah, because my family, we would watch every Pixar film in theaters, but if it was Disney animated feature film, I don't know what happened.
Then Princess and the Frog, wasn't it?
That was 2 years later, but that would come after, yeah. 2 years, and that one was a legendary animation year. I want to point out that was like Coraline, Fantastic Mr. Fox. It was a pretty stacked year for animation. Okay, next two movies from 1982, because I had listened to 1982 podcast of like movies that came out that year. One was like a courtroom drama called The Verdict. It was very good. And the other was a Dustin Hoffman in drag, Tootsie. It's hilarious.
Tootsie!
Yeah, Tootsie. I know, I got the reference. The next one was actually pretty sad when I look back on it, because it was like the last, I guess, new for the first time movie for me that I got to see Diane Keaton in before she passed away. Something's Gotta Give with Jack Nicholson. Movie that came out 2003. I had not seen it at all until last year, and I loved it immensely. I love that genre of movie, and it's like beautiful. Similarly, with Nancy Meyers, her written a movie with Steve Martin, Father of the Bride. I had never seen that until last year. So, also another Nancy Meyers movie, The Intern. That's with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. It's
really
also one that I really enjoyed that one. I already named this one before, but I'll identify it as a first-time watch from last year. Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is also a really, really good movie. I already got the criterion on that one. Okay, this is the one that's going to kill some people. Freaky Friday, which I already said before on the show.
Yeah.
You already know.
I was expecting.
You already know. It's already there. Also, of course, Mean Girls. That's the... yep, there it is. we talked about this before. You know this, but we're gonna go ahead and full disclosure here on the show. And Legally Blonde, and Clueless. I will say, for Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, and Legally Blonde, they're amazing movies. So, and I got to watch them for the first time ever in my life this year. So, there's that.
I mean, I've never fully seen Legally Blonde, so
It's really good. I really enjoyed that one. Also, Easy A, randomly with Emma Stone. Yeah. And then this one, this one's hilarious. Super Bad. Never watched it until last year in its entirety.
I need to rewatch those because I remember having fun with it the first time, but I never really
You were
appreciate
really little.
Yeah, so at that time I didn't pay attention to movies as well as I do now. So definitely
Other
need to rewatch
comedies included Not Another Teen Movie, the original Naked Gun. I know that one. I know that one. I seen clips, not the whole thing. So that was like more. I
Not
remembered a lot
another
of it, but not.
teen movie?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know, right? I've seen clips, but not the whole thing. Naked Gun, the original movie from like the 80s, I want to say, as well as Airplane. Again, in its entirety for the first time, Neighbors with Zac Efron and Seth Rogen. Death Becomes Her, with Meryl Streep, and what's the other one? I believe it's Holly. No, it's
No.
it's Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn, yeah.
Goldie Hawn, yeah, that's a really good one. And I believe what's his name, Bruce Willis, is also in that one. Charlie Bartlett, Half Nelson. This is some smaller indie movies from the 2000s. The Conjuring 2, which is funny because I've seen The Conjuring and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, but I never saw The Conjuring 2. I don't know how I just skipped that one. I know, that was weird. And I still haven't watched the new Conjuring.
The most.
What, The Conjuring 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was, yeah.
that moment of her getting closer to the
Don't stop. I don't know what you were gonna say. I don't want to know. Did you watch the last one?
I did not. No. I didn't because I don't like the Valley
HBO
audience for I know I could and I should at some point, but I chose to watch
love
Conjuring 2
that
instead.
series.
It's a good series, yeah.
I love. I mean, Insidious. Wait.
Oh,
yeah, Insidious
love
and
it,
The Conjuring are the ones that got me really into this.
For sure. Last year before Conjuring 2, I bought The Conjuring 4K and I watched it here in my room and I was shaking. I forgot. Oh my god, this is such a scary movie.
Wait, no, The Conjuring is the one that scares me. The first one.
Yeah. The Conjuring one, yeah.
Which
but
is
The Conjuring 2,
The
Nun.
The Nun.
Oh,
the Nun,
no,
the one in London.
Just kidding. Oh, no, that one didn't scare me, but I did really like that one. But the first one.
And 3 more first-time watches. There Will Be Blood. I already mentioned the Kill Bill and Elf.
Really?
There's no way.
Wow.
There's no way.
Yeah, of course I know of it and I know a lot about it, but I when it just comes to purely sitting down and watching the whole thing uninterrupted, first time watch.
There's no way. Well, I watched Home Alone for the first time.
No, that's true.
The first one.
How was that?
It was okay. It's not the second one.
It's really interesting. I have a few more moments for my favorites of the year, but do you guys want to I'll take this time to go over to you guys. Do you have any favorite moments that you want to bring? Of course, this could be personal moments in your lives, personal moments in pop culture, news stories, just things that you're going to remember in a positive way. Let's not get into the whole, the atrocities. We can leave that behind for now.
I forgot what I wrote down. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say a couple that are probably going to be repeats.
Okay.
Well, some of them are, but we got our own apartment.
Yeah. And can I just say, I love it. You guys have done a lot to really decorate it and personalize it. And by the way, the Red Spotlight audience has already seen a good part of it through the videos that we've done. Like, especially if you watch I don't know if you, Alexis, watched at least the images of the
Yeah, I
Fire and
did.
Ash review.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
Mhm.
Like, you guys, and that was all you. You guys set that up, and it was like, that's the best I think we've ever looked in a video. So that was an amazing background.
Sound of Music, K-pop. I mean, the rest are kind of like, I didn't really write down like individual ones. It's kind of like categories.
Sure, yeah.
So I guess I'll do the movies one. This is not a movie, but I loved watching Andor with you guys.
Yes, that was a good experience, wasn't it? It's one of my favorite
Yes.
times of any of the podcasts that we recorded last year. Those Andor ones were very special.
Yes. Superman was really fun.
Yeah.
I think that was like the movie I was waiting for the most this year, and it did not disappoint.
Nope, it did not.
And yeah, like I said, also Sound of Music. One Battle was just like the biggest surprise, I think. In a good way.
Yes, especially considering how the trailer didn't look very promising.
Exactly. And Hamnet, I think, was like another one that even though I cried my heart out, like I thought about the movie, have still been thinking about that movie. I thought it was really good. And then I don't know if you guys saw the Juan Gabriel documentary on Netflix.
Oh no, I meant to. I forgot about
you need
it.
to see it.
I have so many things to see.
I know. No, I think that one should be like on the top of your list.
Okay.
It's so good.
He's such a fascinating figure in that culture, you know?
Yeah.
Everything about him is just like, it's so captivating still to this day.
And even, but like, aside, I mean, obviously, like, it's him, so we're gonna love it.
Right.
But like, the way that they make the documentary, the way that it looks, it's so good.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, it's so like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he recorded most of it because it's all like found footage essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but they make it look like a little bit like a scrapbook. I don't know. I really like the way that it looks, and I mean the documentary itself is amazing. So yeah, that was a really good one. And then another one is, I think I've talked about it before, but oh shit, I need to look up the name of the movie because I just wrote down like a
well, we can say I think collectively the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, right? Like
yep,
pretty incredible. Like, it may not only win an Oscar, but maybe even a Grammy this year. Okay.
That was released.
The what?
The Rosalia soundtrack that was released.
Oh, okay.
Not soundtrack, album.
Uh-huh.
Can't stop thinking about it. So the movie is called Voy a pasármela bien. It's a jukebox musical with Hombres G music. It was made a while back. It's not a new film, just like a few years. But I did not know that this is a thing, so it was really cool to find it, and it was really good, and I love the music, obviously. It's in Spanish, but you can have subtitles. People can read.
Right.
People can do hard things.
Unless you're an actor, because they can't read subtitles, apparently. To what I was saying before, how they don't nominate international movies at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, just to be clear about that reference.
But yeah, those are kind of like the movies that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. And I feel like in a lot of those instances, I think of like just, moments that are going to stick with me for a long time, like the whole, with Wake Up Dead Man. The first scene that Benoit Blanc comes in, and after like he says his whole like very justifiable diatribe against the church, and then we have a priest in Josh O'Connor that doesn't really at all rebut any of what he says, but offers his perspective. And like the way that Rian Johnson wrote that is gonna stay with me, which is like, maybe it's less about, and I'm paraphrasing, maybe it's less about whether or not it's getting you to believe in something that may or may not exist, but maybe it's actually, it's saying a lot about who we are, that we can't really that maybe it does get to some kind of truth about who we are, and that we can't really express it any other way but storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then mash that with the lighting of the sun going down and then coming back.
Yeah. Another thing that I've really enjoyed this year, that I've done quite a bit, it's two different things. Arts and crafts. I've not all the time, and it's very like limited, but like I have tried to kind of set time to do whatever it is regarding that. And YouTube videos, like long form YouTube videos that talk about like a specific subject. We used to watch them a lot, like during COVID because we had time.
Right.
But like, for example, I saw one that talks about like learning a new language and what it means to know different languages, and like, you know, so that type of video, just like from different people, about different topics. I don't know if it was last year or this year, but I feel like I didn't go full on with it, but somebody came up with the like something to do is to make your own curriculum, and just like learn about a topic, learn about different topics, you know, research how you can learn about it, and it could literally be anything. I really enjoyed, again, I didn't go like full on, but that the concept and like all of that, I liked doing that.
You also had a pretty shattering experience with concentration camps, didn't you?
Yes. Yep. That's still traumatizing because even more so right now, it's ever more present.
Yeah. You went into detail about that the last podcast you were in.
I love that episode, by the way.
Yeah. Of the one that we did last time. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this. One of my highlights of this last year is, like, even more so than the Andor reactions that all three of us shared, I think the shows that you and I do, no offense, David, by ourselves, are like just, I don't know, I just feel like some magic happens there. Boy, it's kind of awkward. Sorry, David. I didn't mean to put this out there just like that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I do wish and hope that you can be on the show a little bit more often this year. I know that you're crazy busy and you're out of town a lot, but I think it would do everybody really good if you were to come on at least once a month, if that was even doable. But like, whatever time you were able to give.
That's like one of my resolutions, that I did want to be more involved, because we talked about it so many times, but I feel like right now is like another one of those moments where like we need to do this just to let it all out.
Yeah, and get through it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, we had some really just memorable and engaging conversations, as we usually do. But I just think that we're able. I mean, even just when we were like laughing at Amelia Perez and just being in utter disbelief of like what was going on there. So we can have fun conversations too, and laughing at things, not just, you know, of it being, you know, dire all the time. But no, genuinely, I think I've just been very thankful for those shows. And I think like we get to know each other in a really interesting way. I actually want to take this moment, and I wanted to ask you this question, and I want you to ask this question of me too, if see how well we know each other. Maybe we could be right, maybe we can be wrong. I was thinking of asking David to leave the room for a second, only because like he will be on the top 10 show eventually of 2025, and this might give it away. But knowing David, and this is no offense to you, my friend, you probably will forget by the time that ever happens, because who knows, by the time we get to record top 10 of 2025, it may be 2028. I mean, because look, we're in January 8th of 2025, and we still haven't been able to record or release a top 10 favorite movies of 2024.
You're getting closer.
I'm getting closer to it, and I think we're ultimately ready for it. But yeah, So in my head, I was like, okay, if I were to think of like, what are 3 movies that I think probably appealed to Alexis the most, and when maybe she would call her favorites? I thought of 3, and I was wondering if maybe if you would be put on the spot, what would you think the 3 would be for me? And maybe you two can, I guess, share a brain or I guess use both your brains to think about what that would be. But at least for you, I think like the ones that gave
I think
you
I have it.
I'm sure you have one, but do you have all 3?
I think so.
Okay. I feel like for you, tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I think the 3 for you would be Sinners, Hamnet, and Superman. Is that pretty on the money, or am I off by 1? David, what do you think? Do you have any idea? I know
I think it might
you can
be-
weigh in.
Yeah, I think those fit. Those fit well.
I feel like One Battle is in there somewhere.
Ooh, I mean, I was gonna say that one, but it's like I was. It's because like I feel like with Hamnet and Superman, with those 2, I was with you when you were watching those movies, and I could feel the energy rating and the passion radiating off of you. So it's like I know for sure those are high up there. But would you say that One Battle is somewhere in that top 3, but you're not sure which one of the other 3 you would want to kick out?
I mean, it would be between Hamnet and One Battle, because Sinners is like a movie that stayed with me,
Right.
and I
Still.
rewatch it all the time.
Yeah.
And I really love Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably be Hamnet or One Battle.
Yeah. And then David, I think you had said already that your favorite of the year was One Battle.
Yeah.
What are your other 2?
The other 2, what would they be?
See, he watched
Frankenstein.
movies and I didn't.
Frankenstein? Would that be what? I think that's the other one for sure. Okay. And
Superman.
so One Battle, Frankenstein, not Superman. No, it wouldn't be Avatar, would it?
Would it be Sinners?
No.
No, I don't think it would be any.
Marty Supreme.
No. That would be funny if it was.
Tron.
No. Oh man. I mean, what's for us to think?
Wait. Was it in the beginning of the year?
Nope.
Oh, what the fuck?
Do you have it, or do you not? Are you not sure, David, about what your
No,
other?
I got it.
Demon Slayer?
No.
Oh, I think that's a good guess, right?
It's a good guess, yeah, but if it was like a top 10 thing, but top 3.
Did you go watch it by yourself?
Nope.
Did you
I
watch
feel like
it
I'm
with me?
forgetting movies.
You already named it.
It's
Like from
What did I say?
not K-pop. K-pop Demon Hunters? I'm
Freak
like,
Friday.
what is this movie? Not Tron.
What
No.
did you? What were? Oh wait, you haven't said yours.
Thunderbolts? I'm
Thunderbolts. Oh, Thunderbolts!
Thunderbolt.
I forgot that movie came out. I'm like,
Avatar.
What are you talking about?
no.
Oh, Wake Up Dead Man?
Just want me to say?
No.
No, we have to guess this damn thing. Like, okay, what month
What
did
did-
you
What
watch
did we
this?
say already?
We said everything already.
No, but
We
like,
said
that
everything.
Are his picks?
Okay, the
Oh,
2 that
one-
for sure, Frankenstein
Battle?
and One Battle.
Okay.
But this next one, you guys already like talked about it just like 5 minutes ago.
The Conjuring?
No.
Hamnet?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm mad because that was so obvious. Yes, Hamnet.
Yeah.
You two were freaking crying next to me the whole time. It's like, okay. That should have been pretty obvious. Okay. But you're not sure, Alexis, if you would put One Battle or Hamnet.
Yeah.
Let's just
Because
see
how
for
was I during One Battle?
Oh my gosh, she was freaking. I think she was freaking out about as much as she was with Marty Supreme. Basically, imagine that, like her movements.
Yeah.
They're like better.
Yeah.
So
She was
then
having more fun.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't know of those four, which one you would not include, Alexis? You have Hamnet, One Battle, Superman, and Sinners. For sure, Sinners is in.
Yeah, and Superman.
Hmm.
It's just
So what? You're gonna pull a Kyle and put a Hamnet / One Battle after another? Just count 2 movies as one?
Ham battle. I don't
Interesting,
know.
okay.
I feel like I have to rewatch both of them
Hmm.
to know, because I've only seen both of them once. But
I mean, but very memorable and impactful,
Yes.
no less. I would say that for me, mine are pretty obvious. I think there are 2 that you could guess off the bat because you can tell when I like about a movie when I bring
Yeah.
it up all the time. And there are 2 that the one that I brought up very
Mhm.
much earlier on in the year for like
the
almost
third
any
one is a
occasion.
little tricky for me.
That's the one I was gonna say, and I think that's gonna be a little bit harder than the other 2, only because it's
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna
I
get it
haven't
wrong.
said
Damn,
it,
I'm
but
second-guessing
like
myself.
this is the part where you can say the obvious 2 first and then get to the third one. That way we're like
Okay,
pretty clear
One
about
Battle. Yes.
it. No.
What the? Okay,
Really?
I lost.
Actually no.
I was
Actually
gonna say
no.
Elio.
Elio, yes,
Okay.
but One Battle was so close. I love One Battle, but let's just say there are 2 movies right above it for me.
Sinners.
No.
No.
No. But it's in the same conversation, but no. What? So we have Elio, which I will just say, just to bring it up again, criminally underrated. It still hasn't had its moment, in the streaming era. I will say, people like to talk trash about it, but I don't know what the fuck happened, but it got the same amount of nominations as K-pop Demon Hunters at the Annie Awards, which nobody saw coming. It got more nominations than Zootopia 2, that's for sure, even though Zootopia 2 has a higher rating or obviously higher box office. But we'll see. I mean, there's a chance because you know how the Oscars are. They're probably going to fuck me over and like not even include it in the 5 for animated feature, but maybe it would be. But yeah, that one's a weird one. I think ultimately because like it's a really good movie. I mean, I love it, and I think it's my favorite of the year because of a special connection that I have with the lead character and everything. And of course, all the things in the film that appeal to me, and I've gone on, tangents about it. But ultimately, what makes this so weird is that it's just generally a really well-made movie at the end, and it's been very well received if you watch. And I think it has so much of a stink around the drama that happened that so many people don't even want to watch it, which is sad. Even after, even months. Like, for me, I watch a lot of YouTube channels that do reactions to movies. This one still. Like, anytime, any of the more major ones, like Superman or Frankenstein, they hit online, within the day, it's up on there, the new releases. But this one, no one cares to do one yet. And it's been months since the movie came out on digital, so.
We should do.
We should do a lot of
Wake Up
different
Dead Man?
reactions, but yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay, so what's the third one?
Wait, what'd you say?
Wake Up Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead.
Oh,
Man.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that one, but I felt it was
Is it
too obvious.
Frankenstein? It's not Frankenstein. No.
I feel like I'm gonna be wrong with this one, but Mickey 17.
I really like Mickey 17, and I wish more people would talk about it because it's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot more when I watched it when I bought it on Blu-ray, but it just got so blank. But no, it's probably not even top 10 for me. But I really like Mickey 17.
Avatar.
I liked a lot of movies last year. Yes, that's it. Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
See, I didn't watch
the
it,
obvious
so-
one. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Fire and Ash. It blew me away. Like it's So those are the 3 for me. Which, you know, I'm quite happy with. I feel like, I don't know, I get a little bit bored of like the same movie being number 1 in everybody's lists, and I'm like, yeah, it's great. I love One Battle. I
Are
love
you
One
calling
Battle.
me
It's my.
basic?
I'm not calling you basic. I'm calling everybody else. That's just like, because literally you watch any top 10 video of the year and it's gonna be the same one, and it's like, hey, look, I get it. It is the movie of the year. It will win Best Picture, and it will be deserving of a Best Picture victory. Don't get that twisted. I will be happy to see that. I just feel like, you know, there are more movies. There are more movies, and I will say, although I would rank personally just a little bit higher One Battle over Sinners. Sinners, to me, in a lot of ways, I still think can be made the movie of the year, and I don't know. I feel like there's something just real special about it as well in its own way. Speaking of moments, I mean, with Sinners, that whole musical moment in the middle, transcendent cinema, just
I
the whole
think that one was like my favorite movie experience this year, and like I think it's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, and it's a great pick for it too. Getting back to the list that I had on here, I'll go with number 5, Mon Mothma's speech on Andor. Love the whole show.
Yeah.
Love all the episodes, but to me this was, and now that I'm looking at you, David, I'm remembering, what was it? Did somebody criticize you for like cutting a part of the speech out of the reaction or something? Is that what happened?
I've got a few comments, people being like, why didn't you show the whole speech? And one guy commented, I think it was out of cowardice. And I almost wanted to comment, like, the fuck are you talking about?
Out of
like,
cowardice?
Yeah. It was funny. But yeah, we didn't put the whole speech because we were locked in it. We wanted to hear every word of it. It was awesome.
And I look, like Tony Gilroy and his brother and how they wrote that speech. Look, it was, to me, it was such a transcendent moment in history, because not only did it fit very much perfectly for like the conflict that was happening in universe in the show of Andor, but it, more than anybody could have possibly imagined, broke through that screen and touched all of us, because when Mon Mothma was saying that nobody else would, and you have to also remember that at the time that Andor was out, there was no one people could like look to for an alternative, voice to Trump.
Barely starting.
It was barely starting, and it was just like there was no opposition party. The Democrats just lied down and took it, and still are doing it today. So, like, in a way, like, Mon Mothma kind of became the outlet that we needed at the time to kind of filter out what we were saying, because, what she was saying about, truth, and how when we let it, be taken away from our hands, and what we then allow it to become, and all, it was just an amazingly written speech and a beautifully delivered speech that I think touched us all in exactly the way that it was supposed to, and even more than that once it happened. And I do think, when I think about why I have fallen so out of favor with these critic groups, right, and these award shows, is because Dune Part 2, yeah, it's par for the course. They, of course, would do that. And the thing about Dune Part 2 and Andor together, though, that was a potent combination, because, like, what the fuck are you doing here? Because both Dune Part 2 and Andor, in their own way, are very timely to a lot of the deep-seated issues that are now coming to the surface of this country, of the evils of this country. And you people claim to be the ones that are, trying to award timely cinema, important movies. But I guess wrapped around genre stuff, it doesn't matter for you guys. Like, I loved Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme, but I gotta tell you, nothing he did in Marty Supreme came close to what Lisan Al-Gaib did in that speech, where it felt like his hand was touching the heavens, and that religious fundamentalism was like capturing everybody. Like, that was a moment that gave me chills. That was the moment that Timothy Chalamet, it was almost as if he was doing King Lear or he was like doing Shakespeare. It was truly worthy of a Best Actor nomination in my eye, just for that. They said fuck you, basically. And then with Andor, you've got Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma, Stellan Skarsgård playing a very memorable character as Luthen on Andor, and of course Diego Luna, and then of course all the other women on the show of Andor who did incredible work as well. Like, there's no reason why this show was like
the first season.
I'm sorry.
His mom in the first season.
Yeah, everybody, every actor on the show, and yet completely ignored. We had to have all the cast members of The White Lotus, of Succession, of Severance. Yeah, we'll put you all in, but Andor, I guess, didn't count.
Yeah.
So I'm very bitter about those particular omissions more than anything else. Like, that to me is like that's a bridge too far for me. It's like, I get that they usually go for not crap, but just things that are like, okay, sure, whatever. But like this feels very timely. This feels like it needs a spotlight put on it, and you not only are not just flat out giving it the award, you're not even inviting it to the party. That to me was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6, everything involving I think Stranger Things did a beautiful thing this year with Will Byers using his identity as a means to access that superpower that he does use against the main villain, and the use of Ethan Hawke's daughter, Maya Hawke, her role as Robin in the show. Robin has been an amazing character since the minute she was introduced, and I feel like every season they've paired her with people, and it's just worked really well. And her really kind of like allowing Will to kind of like unlock himself and accept himself, and that whole montage of like the memories and her whole speech to him. It's like, I thought I was looking, for all the answers in somebody else, but I had it all wrong. Like, I had all the answers. That was just a beautiful, beautiful moment, and a beautiful combination of characters that I think are going to resonate deeply, because you have a mainstream show like Stranger Things that was able to utilize the LGBT identity of one of the main characters as the superpower and not be apologetic about that, where and to this day it is hard to find that in mainstream shows and movies, especially in this conservative culture, which is just trying to rip that away from people, and trying to basically make it seem as if like they don't exist. And you know what, I guys, I know it's late. I promise you it's not going to be a super long thing, but I have one thing I want to share. David, you know what it is because I shared it with you the other day. One of the reactors that you and I listen to a lot is Amwan Media. He's included in all of our reactions for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which shout out to those reactions, because you and I have such a good time with those. And it's always funny to see the kind of little comments that we get from it. But this is him going off about how people were even giving him blowback for how much he loved that scene, which is just so scary, because like, what are you talking about blowback? Like, what is there to like be upset about? This is what he said right here.
This final fight without any of these weights on their shoulders, without giving Vecna any leverage to use against them in any way, shape, or form, they will lose. Had he not been put in the situation, he may have buried this for a long time, never even confronted it for a long time. And guess what? You probably grew up with somebody who felt like that their entire life and never felt comfortable telling you. It's just like, oh, we're getting more diagnoses of all these different mental health problems nowadays. Why didn't we have that problem back in the day? Because we didn't know how to diagnose it. People weren't comfortable talking about it. People didn't. The more people get tested, the more numbers are going to go up. People weren't getting tested for shit. People don't know math. People don't know statistics. They don't know reality. People have this perception of the world, and it is fucking ridiculous. Like, that is arguably the most important scene in the entire fucking show. And you've obviously never sat in on one. It's like, it's not realistic. It's way too flowery, too mouthy. It's too preachy. It should have been 20 minutes. Dude, it was 3 minutes, if that. And what? There's literally a recent coming out scene in the sports world that's been floating around in media to counteract that. Almost exactly plays out exactly the same. And guess what? I had a friend get us all together and tell us in college exactly how that happened. What do you mean? Like, it's just, I wanna just bash my head into a wall. Last thing I'll say about it is these people have the audacity to have a cross or a Bible verse in there, and obviously they don't understand their own stance on the world at all. They need to remove that shit from their bio, from their profile pic, because guess what? You keep acting like that, your ass is not going anywhere other than wherever the fuck you deserve to be.
So to be clear, there were two moments in regards to Will, but the one that I was talking about first was like the earlier in the season when like he's using Vecna's powers against him. When Robin's monologue comes in, and I guess what Omni was talking about here was more so the second follow-up scene, which is when he gathers everybody together and he tells them this because it could be used against him. And actually, it's kind of fucked up how Vecna in a way was like using the homophobia against Will. Cause it was like, I'm going to show you what's going to happen if people find out who you really are. And it's like, okay. Which is, it worked out in the writing and in the whole scene of it, but I just feel it's like that's gonna be such a pivotal moment for people, and yet what happens? Gets review bombed, and you have people acting this way, and it's just like you can't have nice things. You just can't. Number 7. Speaking of pivotal moments, Superman's speech in Superman, the whole kindness thing when he like his also a moment of proclaiming his identity. This guy is an alien, yet he's more human than most of the species on this planet that would consider themselves to be human beings. I remember being in the theater, and when that happened, and I kind of felt it was coming, and I was like arrested in a moment of just like, fuck yeah, finally somebody fucking says it in a movie, and kind of like, even though it's not like really talking, you know, on a macro level about all the things that are happening, it did in a way, because ultimately all of the conflicts and major things that we're going through right now come from just unfettered hatred being spread all over the place, and for no good reason. Freaking Lex Luthor, because he hated this guy, was willing to murder and commit genocide all over the planet because he felt threatened by somebody. It's like, and the thing is, Lex Luthor isn't just a comic book villain anymore. He's a real life person in our world. So to have this movie, and then when you couple it with the what feels like to be just flat out like comparisons to Israel and Palestine in this film, it ended up being just a moment for all of us to just like sit back and like, wow, it felt like finally we weren't the ones that were taking crazy pills. Finally, somebody was like listening to what we were thinking, and they were voicing it in a movie. And Alexis, I know you were moved by that too.
Yep.
We were all like, when that happened.
I think I turned to you and I told you like, damn.
Yeah. And you felt every person in the room just feel the same thing. It was like, because that's who Superman is, and that's ultimately the ideal that people should strive to be, right? It's just like righteous and kind-hearted and kindness and acceptance and openness and so many people just they struggle with basic empathy.
Yep. I love that
Yeah.
movie so much.
Yeah. That's why ultimately it's like, I know that there are like
I
some
think
really
I,
good
I
faith.
like it a lot
Go ahead.
because it's like Sinners, One Battle, and this one have a lot of the same commentary.
Yeah.
But this one's like a lot lighter.
I mean, look, even Elio has a sequence where the whole world unites to help, them escape, with the whole satellites and everything. And even it ends with this whole Carl Sagan voiceover of like, we're not alone. And it kind of ends in a way of what if humanity can be united if, there are these forces out there. Like a lot of the films this year definitely had things in common to them. I mean, even in Wake Up Dead Man, you had a couple of characters that very much represented real life supervillains that we have to go through. I mean, Daryl McCormick, who plays Cyrus Draven, just this craven. I see what he did there with that naming that character. This craven political creature that is just willing to destroy and burn the world just to capture power. Where have we seen that before? And the fact that in Rian Johnson's movie, the two characters are like, "Fuck you! We're not going to give you anything. We're not going to tell you where Eve's apple is, because if we do, you're going to condemn it." Even the way where I believe Draven tells Josh O'Connor, "Do you have any idea what the kinds of things I could do in Christ's name if I had that power?" And he looks at him with a disgusting face. Yeah, I can imagine. A lot of interesting commentary happening all over the place, including number 8 for me. The monologue at the end of the movie, One Battle After, and not monologue, but I guess it was when Charlene is reading the letter from her mom. And to me, it really put the whole movie in perspective about generational change. And it really kind of made me think, because look, I mean, not an insignificant thing happened last year where you and I turned 30, Alexis. And
That's
you're beginning to think, beginning to think about things in a different perspective. Like one of the disgusting trends that I'm seeing this week on social media is people going online and saying, "Hey, remember how when we were kids in the 2000s and they would play us an 80s song about how that would be like 20 years ago? Well, now all the stuff that we grew up with in the 2000s is basically now an 80s song or 80s media to the kids that are growing up in this very age." And to me, I personally took that personally, and it was like, how dare you? And we say this, by the way, this is the year High School Musical and Hannah Montana turned 20 years old, which were like staples for us as children of like the 2000s. And this is sad to kind of like say out loud, but that moment in One Battle, it obviously it's speaking to just generational change as as a whole, because like with Charlene's mom, Beverly Perfidia Beverly Hills, failed ultimately at her mission. And like she was very militant about changing the world, and she had the right cause, but the wrong approach, and ultimately it didn't amount to much change. And it really just did speak to, in an instance perhaps of Paul Thomas Anderson speaking out loud, coming out of him, and in this movie of like, we thought we were going to be the ones to change the world, and I guess we failed too. And I hope maybe for you, we give it all to you, and hopefully you can make mistakes all your own. I mean, another scene in Superman, Paul Kent, also one that sticks out. That whole embrace of like, parents aren't for telling their kids who they're supposed to be. We're here to give you tools to make fools all on your own. Come on, it's just, and that also kind of builds a bridge towards this moment too, of like, we leave it to you, we leave it to the next generation. And, there's a bit of a sadness, and I did bring this up before in the past when we spoke about this movie, but just as a whole, of feeling like, maybe in some ways we did succeed, maybe in some ways it does feel like we failed. I feel like if you look at the state of the world, it feels like we failed, but then you have to think about it critically. We, as 30-year-olds, don't have any power still.
Yep.
Like, we don't control the keys of anything. It's all still the boomers and the Gen Xers. They still are clinging on to power, and we're like, can you give us a seat at the table? Which leads me to my number 9.
No,
Sorry?
I want to say it.
Go ahead.
Well, mine's like kind of a mix of two.
Sure, go ahead.
And I guess I'll say it this way.
Okay.
New York City.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go, but that also encompasses what you experienced too. Go ahead.
You were gonna say Mom Donnie.
Yeah, Mom Donnie. Yeah.
That was like the happiest I was. Even though it like immediately went out the door, but like it's fine.
I mean,
we got to sit in the moment for like 2 seconds. Wake up in peace.
It was, let me tell you, the joy and elation we felt, the euphoria, to be quite frank with you, that we felt that night, and then we woke up in such a good mood that next morning, didn't we? It was like a reverse Trump, where it's like you wake up and like for some weird reason it felt like things were right in the world. Yeah. No, but look, that election night was like that. It kind of revived me. You know, it was like it was like, wow, good things can happen now. And also to show that wasn't a fluke, and yes, there are bad things today, because of the political pressure that Mamdani's electoral victory was able to put on the New York governor, who otherwise is kind of a corporate creature, but even she can read between the lines, and she joined forces with him today to announce a universal child care plan for the entirety of the state of New York. Which proves, I guess it is that easy to just do these things instead of like the whole pie in the sky. Oh, things will never happen. It's like,
yep.
It was that easy to do.
That shit pisses me off so bad.
But no, he genuinely a generational talent, a charismatic individual. He is a powerhouse of a politician that knows how to not just speak, but speak quite eloquently, quite Obama-esque in a way, and has actual policies to put behind it. I do not care what happens. Fucking Trump and the Republicans break the law every day. I think we deserve to break the law one time and have him be a candidate for president. Change the fucking rules. He needs to be a presidential candidate. He needs to be the president. That's what I'm going to say. Because he was born in Uganda, to be clear.
Yes, I would love for that to happen. At least the highest he can get. I don't care. I don't know. But like top 5 moments. And then for me, I went to New York for the first time for my birthday, and it was like not that I was dreading my birthday, but it was, you get that feeling like
it was on your mind.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, this was like, I've been to a lot of places, but truly like being there and doing this trip was like almost life-changing. And yeah, I think like the part that I don't know, the part that really changed me and changed the way that I see things is it was my first time solo traveling, and I had asked quite a few people if they wanted to go. It was
myself included, and I would have loved to have gone with you, like
minute.
I told you. Yeah.
Yeah, I planned it super last minute, so like I understood. But like asking so many people and like have it be your birthday and have it be a big one.
Yeah.
And like everybody saying no, it felt kind of not bad, but I was just like, oh.
No, but I'm sure it did feel a little bit bad. It's like, hey, it's a big birthday,
Yeah.
And I really would have
like,
wanted to go with you.
I understood, like, I'm not, blaming anybody or, like, again, I planned it super last minute, like, I understood. But when I got there, I was getting text messages from, like, all of my family members, even, like, those that, like, don't text me, just, like, checking up on me, like, asking me, like, hey, how's it going? What have you done? And that felt really good.
Yeah. No, it's nice to know that there are people thinking about you even when you're not there presently, and that they're keeping you in your thoughts, and that they're wishing you well. I think to build a connection between that and what I do professionally, I have been moved in ways that I still can't quite fully process, because if I do, I'll probably just like turn into a big old mush. But just like the sheer acts of kindness, and just the sheer amount of kind things that have been said about me, to other people about me, or just even to my face by a lot of my contemporaries, my colleagues, my mentors in a lot of ways, because I'm still new to what I do, but I've been able to make such incredible connections with them, and to hear my name be thrown out there in the circles that I inhabit in such positive light makes me feel really good about the work that I do, and then also with what I contribute, and I really do carry that with me for sure, and that's, as I mentioned before, has been a highlight of my year. But yeah, the last thing I had here was it actually is a catch-all for all of the things that we've been talking about, but I put it this way: the re-examination through all the different works of art that we've been talking about, of kindness, American exceptionalism, quote unquote, and religion. All these themes, I think, were present in most of the works that we watched this last year, which is, when you think about it, certainly very interesting, because last year was quite a year for all those themes to be out front and center, isn't it? It's like so many times we felt like, oh my God, did they write this like yesterday? Because of like what was happening in the world. And no, it most often was the case that wasn't true. It was years before, and yet in a spooky way, it kind of seemingly perfectly aligned with what was going on in the world. And it's just like, it makes you think about a lot of things. It makes you think like, what is this reality?
Yeah.
Like, how does this work?
It in the last episode, it's very like watching these movies come out, and a few of them in the last like decade, and just have it be a mirror of what's happening right now. Like, it's freaky, and it's, kind of just makes you think like, are we just that predictable? But I mean, we
Maybe
are.
we are.
We are. What's it called? That one book was written in the 80s or 70s, I think. The one, it's made into a show, Margaret Atwood.
Handmaiden's Tale.
Yeah.
Oh, Handmaiden's Tale. Okay.
And it was just like, she wrote it at a time when, I think they were talking about abortion, and she just kind of imagined like what the world would be if, like, that changed. Here we are.
Yeah. But I will say, it's like, look, everything that we experience on a day-to-day basis is like a kind of a perfect storm of contradictions. On the one hand, for instance, how I mentioned in the last show that I did, which was like, hey, we're ending the year with the fate of Warner Brothers up in the balance between MAGA Mount or Netflix, which could signal the end of movies. On the other hand, James Cameron's Avatar movies come out no matter what, and the whole world comes back to watch them. And with that, the movie theater business continues to survive. So it's like, it's a dichotomy, right? It's like, wait a minute. On the one hand, everything that we're reading about and hearing about is pointing to the end of this business model. But then every now and then a big movie comes out, people come right back out to see it, and it makes you kind of realize that maybe in a large way movies will continue to diminish, but the hope remains that it's looking kind of hard to see a future where they go away completely, because at the bare minimum, there will be a handful of names that come out that people are going to come out in droves to. And that's, you know, the existence and the fate of the movies has been something that ever since COVID, we've been focusing on a lot more because, you know, before COVID, I didn't think it even occurred to us that would ever go away. But ever since COVID and all the stories that have come out, I mean, it's like you can't help but wonder. Just really horrible decisions after the other about what could be. And then similarly with the news, I mean, like, hey, the imperialism and the tyranny and the fascism and the brutality and the murder and all of that stuff is like awful. And yet you have a Zoran Mamdani who is a generational talent and who in and of itself could be the beacon to a whole new future that can save us, maybe not save us, but help and kind of push back against the dark. It all remains to be seen. But I will say it did get scary, though, last year at the beginning with those fires. I was like, what the fuck? Especially, I mean, for me, I don't even live in that area. You guys were like kind of close to one. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I know that my cousins were also
like,
nearby one as well. It was scary.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. I'm not saying that like other stuff does not affect us directly because, I mean, at the end of the day, it does. But, like, that was, like, something that affected, like, people that I know. Like, they had to evacuate. They had, you know? Like, that was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, like, it was a crazy time. Especially in, like, all of what was going on. For sure. But, yeah, guys. That's 2025, basically, in a nutshell. On the whole, I would say that I've really enjoyed the podcasts that we continue to do. Hey, you know, some things stay the same, some things change. I mean, what stayed the same very much was the fact that, you know, we still get random comments that are just baffling, you know? Like, for instance, somebody felt the need to comment, what? This show has over 500 episodes, and then just pieced out? I mean, we're always going to get just like that weird comment that you really can't say nothing of. But it was also the year that Peter cut his hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time it's been addressed on this show. What happened there? Did he ever say anything?
Does he ever, though?
I feel like you have to understand this for those of you who are watching and listening. We're all close friends, but if we even tried to ask Peter directly, he wouldn't answer the question.
Mm.
Which is why I assume none of us have even bothered to ask him. Did any of us ever ask him about that?
I did, but I can't remember. I don't think he answered.
There you go.
There
what about you? Do you have a top moment?
I mean, you guys called out most of the stuff, at least with movies. I saw Sound of Music in theaters. Beautiful looking movie. Had one of the most intense moments in the end.
Who?
Sound of Music.
Oh.
Jaws. Saw that for the first time. Fantastic. When it comes to movies during that time, it's 50-50 chance I'm either going to really like it or just be bored of it. So I was really happy that I actually liked it. So,
yeah.
But it was fantastic. But for everything else, fantastic year for anime. To Be Hero X is probably my favorite anime of the year. There is a second season coming out this year. So highly recommend watching the first one. Solo Leveling. I think the animation is fantastic in that one. The only thing though is I kind of got bored of the main character as the show went on, but the world is still really, really good. I still recommend it. And then My Hero Academia finally ended at its last episode. I mean, talk about finales.
It ended?
Yeah.
Dang.
After how long?
Ooh. 7, maybe 8 years. Maybe more.
So it's no One Piece.
No, where its first
There's
season
no
finally
way.
ended.
That's crazy.
Oh my god. But yeah, My Hero Academia. That one was a great ending. And it actually goes back to what I was saying with Stranger Things. Like My Hero, you know, it it ended, I think, everything perfectly with the characters, with the story and its villains. Like he handled it. The writer, I mean, like handled it so well. Even with like how it left the world, because I mean it's a world with superheroes, and it really brought up some interesting topics of like mental health in a sense, and consequences of one's actions when it comes to people's powers. Like it really brought up interesting stuff. But I didn't cry. Not like I did with Stranger Things. Like I don't know what it is. I like the characters in Stranger Things. There was something about it. Maybe it did have something to do with it being live action. I saw these kids grow up. That just kind of made me hit harder. But who knows? But yeah, anime was fantastic.
I'm sure it was a big highlight of the year getting that new TV that you guys have. That's a really good TV you have.
Oh hell yeah, new TV.
TV. And then also all of our times collecting physical media.
Mm-hmm.
We had some good times going through those Barnes and Noble, didn't we?
I spent so much money.
She hasn't noticed it, but I bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I did notice.
Oh, she hasn't noticed it? Okay, I was...
She haven't brought it up.
I was like, what the fuck? I forgot what I was doing that I went to go look over there, and I was like, what the fuck? This is not how we had it.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the extended editions trilogy,
Not
steel
the
books.
Please.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will one day, and it's gonna be fun.
You mean the discs?
The disc, yeah. Like I haven't put it on
the
TV yet, but
yeah, that's what you mean. Because okay,
I mean, really, I
you've
need a 4K
obviously
player.
you went to go watch them in theaters, didn't you?
Yeah, I've seen it in theaters
at one point. Alexis can attest that she was present. I don't know if she was awake, but she was present physically.
Mm-hmm.
I was awake.
Wow.
Oh
man,
4 hours per movie.
No, but it's always a fun time when we got to see each other. Obviously, we got to experience a little. I guess you could call it a mom and pop place called Reanimated Records. With seeing old, VHS tapes, DVDs, record players, cassettes, all kinds of stuff. We got to have at a farmer's market nearby. What was it? A very memorable grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, the last time we saw each other after Marty Supreme, or actually it was before. Memorable reaction for you, David, to watch you sniff that pizza and ranch candle was pretty. It's pretty disgusting, wasn't it?
Literally, just my face was stinging just for the memory of it. I'm like, oh.
You gotta remind me to share the video with you guys. I had the video. I need to send it over to you guys. But it's like, yeah, truly awful.
I like the lady that smelled it before him. And now here's, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Anywho, we've just crossed over 3 hours. It probably is time to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for being here and having the patience to. I mean, for me, it flew by. It's a really good conversation that we had, and I think it was just time to, let us not forget the good moments and the good times that we had in a year of our lives that's now over. And now we have another one to go, and I guess it's going to be a spicy one. We'll see. I mean, it's already so much happening. But what we will continue to do on the show is talk about what's happening with movies. We still don't know who's gonna own Warner Brothers. This thing is ridiculous how it just keeps going and going and going. The Allisons will not rest. So we have to keep an eye out on what's happening there. The Golden Globes are going to happen, and next time, hopefully, we can get back on here and discuss the show as it happened. And I'm sure, as there usually always is, there will be more movies this year. We'll see. I'm hopeful this year would be better than last year as far as totality is concerned, and also as far as franchises are concerned. I think last year was a good year in terms of like, this is what I watched, but it certainly wasn't a great year for franchises. I think a lot of them just like did not really do much. This year, I mean, I guess they got to put up or shut up, right? Because like there's a lot of sequels coming out this year, and I guess we're gonna see, we're gonna find out if they're gonna bring people back or not. But hey, there's Dune 3. That's happening this year. That's gonna be, I think, one of our most anticipated ones.
Every Robert Pattinson movie for me.
Yeah. And then there's
Robert
that
Pattinson
one.
coming out in so many movies. Are people gonna complain
Yeah.
that he's coming out in too many? No,
Yeah.
they rather stick it to the.
Zendaya's
Pedro
also coming
Pascal
out in
probably.
November.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna complain about her, but not Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. I guess like I think there's a real competition for like which one I'm dreading the most. I think my top two that I'm dreading the most, Avengers Doomsday.
Oof.
That one, and then also for different reasons, Toy Story 5.
Oof.
I think Toy Story 5 is can be worse for me.
I'm gonna
Isn't
tell you
the,
right now.
Mandalorian movie coming out this year too?
Yeah,
That doesn't exist to me. It doesn't exist to me. I guess it is, but I mean, it doesn't. As Timothy would say, it doesn't enter my consciousness. From Marty Supreme. What's it called? I'm actually quite terrified of the discourse and the reactions Toy Story 5 would bring for a variety of different reasons. If it comes out and it's a dud, in some ways that might be the most preferred outcome. But if it comes down, it comes out. I already said, if it comes out and if you guys prefer it to 4, we're not having a podcast. We're going to skip it and we're going to ignore it. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I won't hear it. I won't entertain it. And we're going to move past it because I know there are already going to be legions of people online who are going to negate the existence of that film. You two may be gleeful about that. We'll see what happens if it comes out when it comes out, but I'm not going to entertain any slander for it, and that's just what it's going to be. And I think that's kind of my worst nightmare that I'm expecting to happen. So that's nice. But yeah. No, and of course, I by the way, before we close, James Cameron directed the Billie Eilish documentary.
I'm actually
Like,
kind of
what?
interested in watching that.
Right? Like what? Like before Avatar played, they had a 3D
I
trailer.
just found out Martin Scorsese, whatever, directed the Bad music video for Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
But I just thought it was interesting because I'm like, what in the world drew James Cameron to direct the documentary about? By the way, Billie Eilish is amazing. But it's like those two are not ever people you put in the same sentence under any circumstances.
Maybe it had something to do with her brother.
Could be. It could be.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like because she works in movies.
She is a 2-time Oscar winner.
Exactly.
Unlike Diane Warren, who's been nominated 15 times in the category and hasn't won once. Whom Billie Eilish beat twice.
Ooh.
2 separate years. I was actually thinking, you know what? Because I'll tell you this. I was a fan of the Miley Cyrus song that played at the end of Avatar, whatever. But they were saying, you know, James, just bring Billie to do the song for the next Avatar movie at the end of it, and they might even win an Oscar for that. Because, you know, Billie Eilish's songs win. And I'm curious to see if Miley Cyrus does anything big for Hannah Montana's 20th anniversary. I saw her, she was
does.
growing out her hair, and it was looking very Hannah. So
I love
really,
her.
and yeah, I really do hope really good things for her. I was so sad to hear that her album bombed last year. I was like, why would she was coming on? I didn't listen to the whole thing, so maybe I'm part of the problem. I listened to a few songs from it, but like, was it not that great?
I thought it was really good. I think all of her music is really good.
I've
There's
always
just
liked her
something
music.
about it that people like don't latch onto it. Like the one she did before,
That one was a
like,
really good one though.
the
That one was really
rocker
good.
one. Oh my god, I think
Yeah.
that one's her best one.
You mean like is it Plastic Hearts?
Yes.
Okay, what
Plastic Hearts?
the one that came after that was Rose-Colored Lenses, right? That's the one with flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of a pop album. There it is. There was a new one. There was a new album she had last year. Yep, and it did very poorly. Nobody, I guess, bought it or listened to it. Yeah, and I guess there it is.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I guess aside from that one,
Yeah.
I like the rest of her music.
Yeah. Do you guys like Bruno Mars? Or not really?
Yeah.
Are you gonna go
So
see
apparently
him?
there's a new album coming out this year. Finally.
And he announced the tour today.
Yeah. Yeah. And the single's coming out this week, so.
I just want to go see Rosalia, and I'm like,
I'm just
those
thinking,
videos,
look,
but they're not
if Bruno is releasing an album, he must really need cash. And considering what we've heard about his Vegas debts, he probably does need a lot of money right now. That shit's
he'll probably
crazy.
make it. I don't know.
He probably will. I mean, come on, he's Bruno Mars. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here on Red Spotlight Entertainment. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay under our spotlight for more content and more, and we will see you guys back here next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.